Gathered in front of an opening known as the entrance to the Dream Realm, a crowd of people prepares for a joint raid mission and stands on the verge of entering the portal. Meanwhile, a trio stands aside, talking about the considerable influx of participants in the raid, while one of them asserts that the Flying Tiger sect, to which they belong, is a formidable group. As they converse, a person seated on a distant cart overhears their discussion about the Flying Tiger sect's selection of members based on grades. This individual is Seo Gangram, a member of the Flying Tiger sect who believes that the sect doesn't actually choose members solely based on class distinctions, as the others assume. He recalls that 5 years prior, upon awakening, everyone's abilities were determined based on their Bazi destiny, a concept he deems rather futile. While lost in these thoughts, someone touches his shoulder from behind, and he turns around abruptly, while the person who remarks that they are on the same team, adopting a friendly tone. This individual shares that it is his first time embarking on an annihilation mission, expressing considerable nervousness. While he keeps on talking, Seo turns away momentarily, pondering why the person is speaking to him in such a manner and wondering if he is a novice. Just then, the trio standing at a distance calls out to the person, cautioning him to be careful and revealing that the individual he was conversing with is Seo Gangram, leaving the person shocked. Looking back at Seo, the person begins trembling in fear, recollecting his eye contact with him, which intensifies his anxiety. As they start to move away, Seo shifts his attention to his equipment, thinking that the conversation ended in the way he was expecting. He recollects the rumors that, due to his overwhelming powers, it's believed he killed his team members and seized their abilities, deeming those who joined his team unlucky. Opening his destiny window, he reviews his powers of destiny detection and destiny stealing, recognizing that these ominous abilities enable him to steal destiny from a deceased body. Considering that the news about his teammates' injuries was indeed true, Seo attributes his colleague's misfortune to his own unlucky destiny. He recalls that destiny classes are categorized into 5 types, with the highest being the divine class, followed by the draconic, ghostly, humanly, and insectile classes. These are further divided into primary, secondary, and tertiary grades. Among these, his own class is the lowest, labeled as the tertiary insectile grade. This signifies that he is not strong enough to kill another awakened and can only use his power under certain conditions. Remembering this, Seo becomes upset about the false accusations against him, realizing he has neither killed someone nor stolen the destiny of a corpse. While he is lost in these thoughts, Yu Harang, a tertiary divine grade member of the Flying Tiger sect, approaches Seo, asking what he is doing there on his own. Stating that there is a dinner party after the annihilation mission, she asks if he is coming to that. At that moment, Jang Tae-hun, a secondary ghostly grade member, also arrives and remarks on Seo's absence from the previous dinner party, asking him to participate this time. In response, Seo begins to walk away, asserting he won't attend and foreseeing that he would likely be treated as useless by members of other sects even if he did. Hearing that, Harang rises, inquiring if he's making this decision due to those who fear him. She angrily demands to know who those people were when Seo reminds her that she is more than 10 years younger than him. However, stating that she is still more powerful than him, both Harang and Taehyun persist in convincing him to join the dinner party, assuring him they will handle anyone who bullies him. Just then, someone calls out to them, and they turn around finding Kang Do-yeon, a secondary humanly grade collie, instructing them to return to their positions before the raid. They comply and start to walk away, reminding Seo to attend the dinner party, while Seo responds with a smile and wave as they depart. Once they leave, Do-yeon approaches Seo, advising him to take care of himself, and Seo reassures him, stating he will be safe as he'll remain towards the rear of the group. However, Do-yeon expresses lingering concern, stating that he won't be by Seo's side this time. Seo expresses gratitude for Do-yeon's care and concern as he watches him leave. He then turns around again, reflecting on his earnest wish to fight alongside Do-yeon. After some time, an announcement is made regarding the upcoming mission, instructing all groups to carry out their assigned duties. Following this, the portal in the sky begins to grow bigger and brighter. Among the people standing beneath it, Seo remembers that his job is to only deal with the leftover demons from behind. Just as they appear from the other side of the portal, a multitude of high-class monsters attack them. Consequently, the leading group engages in an intense fight against these deadly monsters. They fearlessly utilize their unique skills and formidable powers to eliminate the creatures. As a result of their powerful counterattacks, even more powerful demons, known as Sogwis, are summoned. Recognizing the danger, the front groups comprising high-class fighters are directed to leave the lower-class monsters for the rear group to handle, focusing on the powerful ones instead. Meanwhile, the rear group, of which Seo is a part, prepares to confront the remaining low-class monsters left behind by the front group. Taking up his sword, Seo steps forward and vigorously slashes the comparatively weaker monsters, causing them to fall one by one. However, after a tireless onslaught, Seo becomes exhausted, realizing that the number of monsters exceeds his expectations and that the demonic energy makes it hard for him to breathe. As he contemplates leaving, a monster suddenly strikes him from behind, inflicting intense pain. Lying on the ground, Seo realizes he's surrounded by countless monsters. Just as the monsters are about to attack, a bright light shines, causing powerful vines to grow around Seo, protecting him and the others from the impending attack. Looking up, they spot a woman standing on one of the vines and recognize her as the mistress of the Flying Tiger sect. Waving to her, they express their gratitude for her protection. Seo also gazes up at her, conveying his thanks as she responds with a smile. Suddenly, a commotion draws their attention to the ground bursting open, leaving them bewildered. Suspecting it to be the boss monster, Seo thinks that there is still a long way to go before they reach the boss. Suddenly, a gigantic monster appears in front of them and starts to roar, making them realize that the boss monster has already arrived. Looking at the monster resembling an elephant, the flame-type hunters are instructed to go to the front and confront it. However, just as the boss monster raises its trunk in the air, a forceful slash cuts it in half, and it crashes to the ground, raising clouds of dust. This causes the fighters to shield their eyes from the confusion. As the dust settles, the lifeless body of the boss monster is revealed, lying in a pool of blood. Meanwhile, a woman stands near its corpse with a sword in her hand and inquires about Seo Gangrim's whereabouts. Confused by her question, all the fighters stare at her, asking who she is and what her purpose is. Standing above the vines, Seo feels astonished at the fact that she single-handedly killed the boss monster and wonders why she is looking for him. After waiting for the answer for a few moments, she raises her sword in the air and closes her eyes, slashing it with such force that it severs the heads of all the people standing in front. Standing in front of them, the woman states that she will kill all of them, assuming that Seo Gangrim is among them. Hiding behind the sturdy vines, Seo employs his power of destiny detection to learn more about the woman. As he opens the destiny window, he discovers that the woman is Baek Young, an individual of primary divine grade. Realizing that she is from the strongest known grade, Seo thinks that he has never seen that class before and reads about her power, learning that she has the ability to regress to the past. Feeling astonished by her power, Seo decides to go down, thinking that she might have come there because of some information about him. As he attempts to descend, the vines halt his movement, and he hears a distant whisper from the sect mistress, instructing him to stay there. Understanding he shouldn't intervene or show up, Seo remains still. Meanwhile, the sect mistress turns to the woman and asks about her intentions, leading the woman to inquire if she is Seo Gangrim. In response, the sect mistress reveals Seo's affiliation with her sect and urges the woman to converse with her instead. Hearing that the woman refuses to talk and continues to kill all the other fighters, stating that she will kill all of them, assuming that Seo Gangrim is amongst them. Seeing her endlessly kill the sect members, the sect mistress becomes enraged, states that she will not be forgiven for her actions, and unleashes her powers, directing them at her. Simultaneously, Seo attempts to free himself from the vines using his sword, believing that he's the woman's target and that he must escape before it's too late. Amid his struggles, the other sect members begin to flee to safeguard their lives, recognizing the woman as a perilous murderer. Meanwhile, Sua, the sect mistress, engages in a relentless duel with the woman. During their battle, the woman proposes sparing others if Seo Gangrim is handed over, but Sua continues to fight, determined to protect her sect members from harm. The woman retaliates with a forceful strike that sends Sua crashing into a stone, inflicting intense pain. At this moment, more frontline hunters start to gather around the woman to attack her, and she raises her sword in the air, making Sua worried. Turning her attention to the attackers, the woman adeptly evades their assaults and counterattacks ruthlessly, dismembering their bodies. Do-yeon, part of the attack team, also succumbs to the woman's brutal onslaught, sustaining severe injuries. As the woman stands confidently following her triumph over the attackers, another fighter charges at her with great speed, attempting to strike her. However, she intercepts the attack by seizing his hand, asserting that he's obstructing her path, and kills him. Meanwhile, the sect members who fled to the portal in an attempt to save themselves are confronted with a barrier. As they ponder what to do, the woman catches up to them, initiating a massacre that fills the air with agonized screams and desperate cries for help. Concurrently, Seo persists in his efforts to cut the vines with his sword. Driven by the urgency to escape, and other sect members begin to question Seo's whereabouts. With a final burst of strength, he breaks free from the vines and collapses to the ground. Upon looking up, Seo finds himself amidst a pool of blood and the lifeless bodies of his comrades, while the woman stands before him, brandishing her sword. As she advances, Seo gazes at his fallen friends with remorse, realizing he arrived too late. Thinking that it could have ended with just his death, he becomes overwhelmed considering the loss the sect faced for a mere insectile like him. In the midst of this, the woman approaches, raising her sword, identifying him as Seo Ganggrim. However, before she can attack, strong vines appear all around her, ensnaring her, and Sua appears beside her, warning her against touching Seo. With that, they start the relentless battle once again. While fighting, the woman shares her confusion regarding Sua's actions, stating that she could have saved everyone else by giving her Seo Ganggrim. With that, she pierces her sword into Sua's heart and turns around. Stating that it is the duty of the sect leader to protect the sect members, Sua looks up, pulls the sword out of her heart, and lowers the barrier for Seo to flee while succumbing herself. Watching Sua sacrifice herself for him, tears start to fill Seo's eyes, and he looks at the woman, thinking that there is no chance for him to win against such a powerful person. Thinking that she is here to kill him, Seo contemplates why it has happened when he was the only one who was supposed to die. Looking at Sua and all the other dead members of his sect, Seo suddenly notices a window appear in front of him, asking if he would like to use his power of destiny stealing. With tears streaming down his face, he activates his power and receives a notification that karma will be accumulated when using this power. Revealing that there are 421 dead people in the area, the window asks whose destiny he would want to steal. After a little contemplation, he decides to steal the destiny of all 421 of them and gains overwhelming power. As he activates his skill of destiny stealing, he starts gaining the powers of all his deceased comrades while feeling remorseful for becoming a reason for their deaths. While he keeps gaining varied abilities, he realizes that his sect members were right when they said that he kills everyone wherever he goes. Remembering his friends and well-wishers who promised to save him from those who bully him, he thinks that he is the one responsible for their fate. He believes that his destiny has caused the deaths of everyone and holds his head, gripping his sword tightly, reiterating that he is the cause of this massacre. At that moment, he hears the woman's voice calling his destiny interesting and looks up at her, receiving the notification that he has stolen the destinies of all 421 people. Just as the woman is about to launch a strike at him, he draws his sword and delivers a powerful blow, stating that it is all because of her. Seeing the blood spurt from her body, the woman becomes shocked and prepares herself to counterattack. Believing that he can't let it end like this, Seo vows to take revenge against the woman before he dies and activates his ability as Master of the Sword. Simultaneously activating his abilities of Hawkeye and Reflexes, Seo goes on and manages to land another powerful strike on her. In this manner, by activating different abilities, he keeps launching attacks while using the healing abilities of the healers to mend his own wounds. As the intense battle rages on, Seo charges his sword using the ability of a 1,000-weighted axe and lunges at her, thinking he has found a good opening. However, the moment he reaches her, she turns around and summons gigantic blocks of ice that shatter upon his attack, piercing through his body and causing intense pain. With the impact of this sudden blow, Seo crashes to the ground in a pool of blood, realizing that, despite possessing these valuable abilities, he can't use them properly. Holding his shattered sword, Seo contemplates that even though some of these abilities activate by themselves, he can't take full advantage of them with his frail body and broken weapon. He believes that he won't be able to properly avenge the destinies of 421 people while the woman stands before him, gripping her sword. Raising her sword high in the air, she strikes it onto the ground, causing massive spikes of ice to burst forth. Seeing the spikes, he turns around, wishing he had understood how to use his abilities. Just then, the woman manipulates the spikes to fly towards him, piercing through his leg. At the same time, he realizes that there is an ability he can understand well. Meanwhile, the woman approaches him, stating that his efforts are futile as he is destined to die. Taking out the spike from his leg, Seo reflects that the ability he's thinking of is the one he has been observing for years. With this in mind, he triggers the ground beneath them to erupt, giving rise to immense, strong vines, revealing that his ability of tree leaf formation has been activated. Ensnared in these robust vines, the woman realizes that, apart from being a swordsman, Seo is skilled in spells as well. However, with a single stroke of her sword, she shatters all the vines into pieces, thinking that spells like this will be difficult for him to maintain. As she proceeds to break the vines with her sword, Seo continues following her with the spike in his hand, without her realizing that the vines are merely a trap. While she's engrossed in dealing with the vines, Seo thrusts the spike into her neck all of a sudden, causing blood to spurt out. After a while, he removes the spike, leading to her head detaching from her body. Witnessing this, he smiles and thinks that he has finally exacted his revenge, while the woman's lifeless body collapses to the ground. Sinking to the ground himself, he feels a sense of relief for finally killing the cruel woman, believing that the ruthless massacre has finally concluded. Suddenly, he begins to throw up blood, triggering his regeneration ability to activate automatically. However, deeming regeneration pointless, he cancels the ability's activation and smiles, convinced that nothing is going to change. He recalls that when he was a child, a fortune teller prophesied that he would lose his parents at a young age and lead a life riddled with misfortune. These prophecies really came true, as he did lose his parents at a very young age. Being alone, he got involved in a variety of accidents that made all of his loved ones suffer misfortune, which proved him to be weak and unfortunate. However, regardless of that, they still accepted him, which led to their deaths only because of him. Mulling over these thoughts, Seo sits among the numerous corpses of his comrades and contemplates that if he had confronted the woman first and been the first to die, everything might have turned out fine. He yearns for the ability to rewind time and bring everything back to normal. Just then, he gazes at the woman's lifeless body and recalls that she possessed the ability of regression, capable of returning to the past with retained memories. Getting an idea, he activates his destiny-stealing ability and acquires the regression power from the woman. While activating this ability, he realizes he's unsure of which point in his life he will return to. Nevertheless, even if it means going back to the time before he met the woman, Seo decides to seize this chance and eagerly anticipates the process to start. As soon as he touches the ground, he finds himself transported to a living room in a house. Seated on a sofa, he looks at the empty room in shock. Suddenly, the room's door opens and someone enters, mentioning they have come to get their horoscope read. Startled, he looks up, gripping the clipboard with trembling hands, and leans against it, relieved to see Suwa and another person standing at the door. Upon greeting him, Suwa and her friend enter and take a seat on the sofa when her friend discloses their intention to get engaged and asks him to assess their compatibility. Looking at Suwa without her mask and with her eyes completely fine, Seo realizes that he has really returned to the past, where Suwa was completely well. Determined to alter the course of events this time, Seo extends a piece of paper to them, requesting their names, dates of birth, and times of birth. Complying, both of them begin writing the information, while Seo notices Sua's expression, revealing that she is very uncomfortable. Remembering that she told him about her experience with a weird person, Seo thinks that he needs to make sure she does not make the wrong decision ahead of time. After they finish jotting down their birth information, Seo takes the papers back. Upon inspecting their birth dates, Seo informs the person that his horoscope indicates a solid gold type for him, while Suo is a solid wood type. He reveals that horoscopes like that are called wood-cutting gold, which is a very awful compatibility. Hearing that, the person feels shocked, while Suo appears pleased and states that they have no choice if their compatibility is bad. This causes her friend's anger to escalate, and he demands to know the owner's whereabouts. In response, Seo calmly states that the owner is at the counter. Getting up, the person turns to Suo, telling her to leave, stating that they cannot trust this person, but Suo states that she wants to get her fortune read, believing Seo is trustworthy. This further enrages the friend, and he states that she will regret her decision by leaving someone like him. Just then, Seo intervenes, asserting she has no intention of meeting him and instructing him to leave. Overwhelmed with anger, her friend exits, slamming the door behind him. After he leaves, Seo turns to Seo and remarks that fortune tellers usually focus on positive aspects of life, and Seo smiles, acknowledging this to be the norm. Impressed with Seo's skills, Seo asks him to read her fortune, and he agrees. Suddenly, a bright light fills the room, accompanied by tremors, bewildering them. Just then, they begin to hear an announcement that states that their stats are being calculated based on destiny, making Seo feel dizzy. Seeing him sitting still, Seo asks what he is doing, telling him to get underneath the table to save himself. Remembering that she was the one who protected him in his past life as well, Seo realizes that he has to change the future instead of letting the events repeat themselves. Thinking about that, he gets up and goes to the door while Seo keeps sitting, wondering what this announcement meant. Noticing him walking away, Seo quickly gets up, asking him to wait for her, while Seo decides not to get involved with her. Thinking that, he enters the kitchen, looking for an object he can use, and finds a knife after some searching. Just then, Seo catches up, asking where he's going, causing him to quickly conceal the knife in his clothes. Pulling him out, she states that they need to evacuate and starts to walk through the corridor, ignoring his efforts to stay away from her. Suddenly, they hear the voice of someone screaming and look around when a person comes running to them, informing them about the attack of the monsters. Just then, one of the monsters comes from behind and bites the person's leg, causing him to experience intense pain. Looking at the strong teeth of the monster pierced inside the person's leg, Seo states that she cannot be of any help. Just then, Seo takes out the knife he hid in his clothes and strikes the monster with it, causing it to die in an instant. Smiling, he thinks that he was already aware that the monsters would come. These gigantic worms are tertiary insectile-grade monsters that are an easy target for Seo. Telling others to get to a safe spot, he goes ahead and starts killing all the monsters at a swift speed. After killing the monster that he considers to be the last, he hears someone's voice calling for help and realizes that the monsters have not been finished yet. Telling the people to hold something as a weapon to protect themselves, Seo starts to proceed forward, stating that these monsters are not very strong. Just then, he notices Seo using a fire extinguisher to kill the worms and happily remarks that the monsters are not as strong as they look. Looking at her, Seo laughs, thinking that it is funny to see someone capable of killing dragons be happy about something like this. After clearing up the path, Seo instructs the people to get down and evacuate the building before more monsters start to appear. Thanking him for the help, all the people start to run downstairs while he himself sits near the lifeless bodies of the monsters to collect the spirit pearls. After taking out many of them, he thinks that although they are of a lower grade, they are much more than what he expected. While he is looking at the pearls, Seo calls out to him, asking why he is not getting down. Quickly putting the pearls in his pocket, he turns to her, asking why she is not evacuating. In response, she states that she cannot leave him alone. Realizing that she is still the same, Seo tells her that staying there is dangerous, and she replies that this is the reason she wants him to evacuate with her. Thinking that he must tell her something, he turns to her, stating that he wants to share something important with her. As he expresses his intention to share something with her, she becomes confused and asks about the matter. In response, he reveals that she holds the rank of a tertiary dragonic fighter, leaving her surprised. Continuing, he explains that she possesses an ability known as the tree leaf method, and a window suddenly appears in front of her, leaving her in shock. Turning to her, Seo asks if her destiny window has opened, while she remains fixated on the window, confirming that she does indeed see information about the tree leaf method. Reminding her of the announcement they heard in the room, Seo points out that everyone seems to have gained superpowers. While she gazes at the window, thinking that she does feel a little stronger than before, Seo turns on the torch on his phone and states that they should go down. As they make their way down the stairs, Seo inquires about Seo's destiny, and he responds that it's best not to disclose the specifics of their destiny windows to each other. He explains that sharing such information could allow others to see their windows and learn about their powers, and she agrees to maintain the secrecy. Meanwhile, in his thoughts, Seo reflects that his destiny window is the same as it was 5 years ago, and he has lost the abilities he gained prior to the regression. However, This time he has managed to accumulate a significant amount of karma, attributing it to stealing the destinies of 421 sect members. He thinks that in order to change the future, he needs to use the destiny-stealing ability more frequently, but he considers it dangerous to gain more karma. He knows that karma builds up when committing great crime like murder or use a specific ability. However, if too much karma builds up, it is very dangerous. While he is thinking about that, Suo starts to move towards the corridor again, stating that she can see a person there. Hearing that, Seo turns around and attempts to stop her, but she rushes toward the figure entangled in silk threads. As she reaches it, a massive worm suddenly emerges behind the person and is about to attack her when Seo intervenes and uses his knife to kill the monster. After dispatching the creature, Seo expresses relief that only one monster was present, while Suo questions whether there is really a person within the silk threads. Instead of responding, Seo touches the person's arm to check if they are alive or not by activating his skill of destiny stealing, which can only work on dead people. Upon using the ability, he discovers that the person has already died and identifies their ability as flame manipulation belonging to a tertiary insectile grade. Considering it to be a useful ability, he acquires it, gaining some karma as a penalty. Thinking that he is in need of abilities like this, he considers this acquisition to be perfect. Just then, they hear a loud sound, and Suo starts to run in that direction, stating that there seems to be a problem there. As they reach the place, they find a person killing the monsters and enjoying the experience, stating that the targets are easy because it is just a tutorial. As he keeps on killing the monsters with an iron rod, he expresses his anticipation of facing the boss monster. Just then, he notices Seo and Suo standing at a distance and walks towards them, asking if there are survivors in the building. Reaching them, he inquires if they are the characters who will ally with him, making them confused. Bringing his hand forward, the person greets them in a friendly manner, introducing himself as Doc Gojun. Remembering that it was the start for this person as well, Seo smiles and introduces himself in response. After hearing Seo's introduction, Gojun turns to Suo, asking for her name, and she introduces herself in response. Stating that he will remember their names, Gojun says that after the ally event is over, it should start soon, making Suo confused about what he is referring to. In response, Gojun explains that most game introductions are based on a certain formula. Meanwhile, Seo examines Gojun's destiny window and discovers he is a tertiary divine grade with a gold attribute. Remembering that Gojun will soon become the leader of one of the 5 great sects, Seo is surprised at his current capability despite not experiencing awakening. Meanwhile, Gojun elaborates on the game's mechanics, sharing that players either defeat the boss monster with allies or gain a powerful ally during the battle. He believes a player's true awakening occurs when their ally sacrifices for them, surprising Seo with his delusional personality. While they are discussing that, they suddenly hear a loud scream and turn around, finding a person who comes running towards them, asking for help. Behind him comes an enormous worm belonging to the primary insectile grade. While running to save his life, the person accidentally slips on the blood of previously slain worms and falls, with the worm closing in. Turning around, the person looks at the monster reaching near him and starts to tremble with fear while the monster tears him apart, making Suo shocked. As the monster starts to consume the person, Gojun steps forward, stating that it seems to be the boss monster of the prologue that they have to defeat. However, Suo stops him from proceeding, stating that they need to run, while Seo unleashes his flame manipulation ability and strikes the monster with it, leaving Gojun in awe of his ability. Turning to him, Gojun asks if he can kill the monster, and he disagrees, stating that it is impossible for them to do it currently, and he has just set it on fire. Meanwhile, the monster, who has grown much more angry, starts to rush towards them, seeing which Seo tells Suo and Gojun to run away, and they comply. Giving another blow to the monster, Seo also starts to run, while realizing that the monster has found out that his attacks will not work on it. While they are running away, the monster starts to damage the building in order to block their way. Worried about Seo's well-being, Suo stops and calls out to him, telling him to quickly catch up to them. However, Seo turns in a different direction from them, while Gojun grabs Suo's arm, telling her not to stop in such a dangerous place. As they leave the place, Seo stands facing the gigantic boss monster when someone calls out his name. Upon hearing a voice calling Seo's name, the monster turns aside and finds Suwa and Gojin standing there. At the same time, Seo calls out to the monster, telling it to look at him. With that, he unleashes strong ignition powers, engulfing the monster in flames. He then jumps aside to save himself from the collapsing monster, thinking that he'll need to stall for some time considering the situation. Meanwhile, Gojin drags Suwa out to save their lives, stating that he'll always remember Seo's sacrifice. As Seo starts running away from the monster, which seems unaffected by the flames, he realizes he needs to endure until the Fate Protection Agency arrives. While running, he suddenly crashes to the ground, surprised at how little damage he managed to inflict. Just then, the monster opens its mouth to attack him with its sharp teeth. Getting an idea, he unleashes his flame manipulation ability and directs the flames into the monster's mouth. This attack proves fatal for the monster, and it crashes to the ground, becoming weaker. However, after a few moments, it rises again, making Seo realize his attack wasn't very effective and wonder what to do next. At that moment, a piece of wood strikes the monster's neck, and Seo turns to find Suwa, who tells him to quickly run. Suddenly, the wound that was inflicted through the piece of wood starts to overflow with smaller worms that rush towards Suwa to attack. Killing them with flames, Seo instructs her to use her tree leaf method, and she initially hesitates due to the lack of plants, but Seo reveals that it will work with the pieces of wood as well. Trusting him, Suwa places the woods on the floor, and they grow into strong vines, piercing the boss monster's body. After staring at the monster for a while, Suwa tells Seo to hurry and escape. However, before they can do so, countless smaller worms made of the monster's blood rush towards them from above the vines. Seeing them, Suwa sits on the ground, considering that it is the end for them, and becomes disappointed for not being able to save Seo. However, just then, Seo activates his flame manipulation ability and states that trees give life to fire. Suddenly, they get a notification that their destinies are becoming intertwined, with Sua's destiny giving life to that of Seo. Surprised, Suwa looks in front of her and finds all the vines engulfed by flames. This combination of destinies increases the power of his flame manipulation technique from tertiary insectile grade to primary insectile grade, which surprises Seo. As a result of such a powerful attack, they become successful in defeating the gigantic worm. Realizing that they have won, Suwa becomes overjoyed while Seo sits on the floor, resting his back on the wall, prompting her to ask if he is okay. In response, he states that he is fine and smiles, looking at the window in front of him, which displays the extra rewards that he has received for defeating an opponent stronger than him. Holding him, Suwa starts walking downstairs, stating that the exit looks safe because it is only the first floor, while Seo feels dizzy due to the lack of mana. As she opens the door, stating that they can finally get out of there, she becomes shocked to find themselves in a big hall, wondering where they are. As she remarks that this building was definitely in the middle of the city, Seo looks up, equally surprised to find totem poles in the place, and considers it something unexpected. Totem poles are tertiary draconic grade objects that heal humans that come near them and prevent demonic beasts from approaching. While he is thinking that, the door behind them suddenly disappears, making Suwa shocked, but Seo suggests that they should rest there, knowing that there aren't any monsters in this place. Just then, someone calls out to them, and they turn around to find Gojin asking how they survived, making Suwa enraged. Lost in his dream world, Gojin states that Suwa, the heroine, left him alone. In response, Suwa bursts into anger, stating that he is not a hero but a villainous side character who betrays their friends and is the only one remaining alive. Hearing that, Gojin becomes shocked, remarking that although it makes sense, he cannot be the villain. Considering that he is worse than before, Seo simply turns to her, stating that they should leave. However, just as they are about to leave, the ground begins shaking, followed by a breakage of mobile service and a complete blackout that leaves them bewildered. Suddenly, a bright light shines in front of them, revealing a girl standing on the stage wearing a mask. Remarking that all the members of this area have gathered, the girl introduces herself as Anavi Chasia from the Fate Protection Agency. Chasia then shares her intention to manage everyone present in the hall. Upon hearing this, the people become shocked, remarking that this is kidnapping and immediately demanding their release. Meanwhile, Seo, who stands behind them, knows that this is the true beginning. He believes that this time he won't be as weak as he has been in the past and will try to become as strong as possible before departing. Chasia tries to explain the situation to them, but the people refuse to listen, blaming the agency for the disaster and monster invasion. Hearing their arguments, Gojin becomes frustrated and bursts into anger, telling them all to keep quiet, which spreads a sudden silence in the hall. While he tells everyone that this is a very special opportunity for them, Seo thinks that he is just the same as ever, but he is not wrong. Seo also agrees with the fact that being chosen to be present in the hall is a privilege. Meanwhile, Chasia takes a sigh and decides to show them what is happening outside to explain in a better way. So she displays footage on a big screen showing the invasion of monsters in the city, wreaking havoc, and the people fighting against them, revealing that it is live footage of their city. She informs them that all over the nation, another space called the Demon Realm has appeared, leading to an endless overflow of monsters. Shasha states that the Fate Protection Agency predicted this event a long time ago. Therefore, they awakened their abilities before everyone else and began preparing for this day. However, considering the situation, Chasia states that they need more awakened people and have summoned them to help them awaken and grow stronger under the Protection Agency. Taking out a card from her pocket, Chasia states that they can leave whenever they want but should decide after checking what their ability is. With that, she sets the card on fire, causing destiny windows to appear in front of everyone, revealing their class and abilities. Looking at his destiny window, Seo thinks that he wants to check Chash's destiny, but her face is covered by a mask, making him unable to do that. After a few moments, she states that they should have seen their abilities and explains that they can think of them as supernatural abilities or magic. She reveals that those who have awakened use these abilities to kill monsters and raid the demon realm to eliminate threats. However, she remarks that it is a very dangerous job and can even result in their deaths. Stating that it is the same for the training process, Chasia tells them to forfeit their abilities if they want to avoid such danger and wish to be protected. She says that a person who does not have the will to fight does not need any abilities, and she gives them 1 hour to think about it and make a decision. She then instructs them to go to the second floor to rest, stating that manuals will be available there for them to read, and those who stay after an hour can return to the hall. In contrast, those who want to leave can exit through the third floor's exit and will never be able to see their destiny window again. After that, she goes away, giving them time to think. After 1 hour, she returns, thinking that those who will be present in the hall must want to participate in the training. Returning to the hall, she shows the first gate to the people present there. She states that only 3 people can enter the gate at once, and if they succeed or come back, they will end up in the hall again. She explains that every room requires a different method to clear it, which they will have to use. Showing them a small box, she tells them that this item box will be given to everyone, and they only need to pick one up before entering the supply center. In case of injury, she instructs them to use the healing items they have or come back to the lobby to get healed by the totem poles. Stating that the protection agency will not be responsible in the event of their death, she assures them that they will support them the best they can so that it does not happen. After that, she wishes them the best of luck for their training and disappears from the hall, leaving them alone. Just then, one of the people raises his hand and states that he is looking for someone to accompany him, revealing that his power is the primary ghost grade. Following that, all of the people start revealing their powers, offering others to join them. Seeing this, Seo starts to walk away, remarking that it looks like a labor market. Just then, someone calls out to him, and he turns around to find Sua, who thanks him for staying. Sua states that she does not have a party like him and offers him to join her, leaving him shocked. Looking at her, Seo remembers how she sacrificed herself for him, and how all his loved ones had to face death only because of him, which leads him to hold his head out of frustration. Looking at his expression, Sua asks if he is ill, but he replies that he is all right. Turning around, he states that he will have to reject the offer because he is more comfortable on his own and starts to move away. As he rejects the offer, Sua becomes disappointed, stating that she thought they would do well together. In response, Seo states that she will surely do fine with someone else and starts walking. After a short pause, Sua calls out to him, stating that even if they do not hunt together, she will be in his care, and he agrees. Taking his supply box from the counter, Seo opens it up, leading a bright light to emerge from it. This light reveals a training sword and 2 types of recovery medicines. He considers these items to be good enough for a trainee, thinking that recovery medicines are very expensive and are available to them free of charge. Taking the sword, he is about to enter the gate when Gojin calls out to him, stating that he cannot leave his only comrade behind. Considering that it did not happen in his past life, Seo feels surprised and decides to ignore the call, pretending as if he has not heard it. However, as he tries to do that, Gojin reaches for him and stops him, making him confused. Gojin states that they can become the main protagonists of the story and suggests going to the first room together. In response, Seo states that he is more comfortable going alone, but Gojin insists, stating that he is different from those supporting characters who weigh him down and is much stronger. Remembering that Gojin did not have a good attitude towards him in his past life, Seo thinks that he has mistaken him for being strong. Thinking that it is much more comfortable to have strong comrades, Seo ponders that he does not want Sua to stay by his side to keep her safe. However, he does not care much about Gojun's well-being and agrees to go along with him. Becoming excited, Gojun runs towards the counter, telling Seo to wait until he gets the supply box, while Sua looks at them with a disappointed expression. Reaching the counter, he receives his supply box while Sua stares at him. Noticing her, Gojun asks why she is looking at him like that, asking if it is because she is not the hero, making her confused. After that, he turns back to Seo, telling him that he has got the box and they should leave while Sua stands still at a counter. After that, they open the door of the first floor and enter, getting a notification that they have entered the Knife Mountain of Hell. They are told that all the rooms are connected to 4 hallways, and in each of them, there are demonic monsters, traps, and even safe zones, and they will have to find an exit and leave. After that, the trial begins, and they stand in the middle of the room, realizing that they only have to find an exit to clear it. Looking around the room, Seo wonders if its structure is the same as his past life, and if that is the case, he knows where the path to the exit is. While he is thinking that, Gojun shares his confusion about what they might face on their way, stating that he is looking forward to whatever it is. Just then, a sword suddenly emerges from the floor and reaches up to his neck, but Seo pulls him away, saving him from the sudden attack. Realizing that it is basically a trap, Gojun remarks that he likes classic things like these. Meanwhile, Seo begins to walk away, causing Gojun to quickly get up and follow him. While walking through the hallway, Gojun states that there are no more traps, remarking that Seo is lucky, but Seo replies that he is very unlucky. Suddenly, Gojun begins to hear a sound, and a few creatures appear in front of them, prompting Seo to ask if he divided his experience points, and he agrees. As they walk ahead, they find a hall with numerous skeleton ghosts of a tertiary insectile grade walking inside. Seeing them, Gojun pulls out his sword, remarking that these creatures look a little stronger than the worms they killed during the tutorial. Turning to Seo, he states that there are a lot of these creatures, and they need to combine their strength to defeat them. However, instead of replying, Seo directs his flame manipulation powers towards the skeletons, causing them to burn down. With that, he states that if the skeletons start gathering at the entrance, it would make it difficult for them, causing Gojun to remark that he is an intelligent person. Telling him to avoid talking that much, Seo pulls out his sword and proceeds forward, killing the creature at a swift speed. Seeing him kill the monsters endlessly, Gojun remarks that he cannot let Seo take an active role and proceeds forward, joining the hunt. Just like that, with their combined power, they keep on killing the monsters, which Gojun finds very interesting. After finishing the hunt, Gojun remarks that every room has the same type of monsters, which have bored him, prompting Seo to ask if he is tired. Revealing that this is not the case, Gojun states that they are just weak demonic monsters, and he has learned swordsmanship in case he travels to another world or transmigrates into a book. Turning to Seo, Gojun reveals that when he first saw him, he was curious about something, prompting Seo to ask what it is. In response, Gojun asks if he is someone like a regressor or a reincarnate, to which Seo feels shocked. To ignore the question, Seo remarks that Gojun can leave if he only intends to talk nonsense. With that, he starts pushing him, telling him to take the lead, while Gojun insists that he certainly seems different from others. He states that he finds Seo to be strangely calm, can adapt quickly, and is not scared of the demonic monsters at all. In response, Seo reveals that he often saw ghosts when he was young, so he is used to these types of things. Hearing that, Gojun shares his curiosity about Seo's past, asking him to tell him about it. Just then, Seo pushes him to the front with all his might, causing him to fall at a distance when huge stones suddenly begin to fall from the roof. Confused, he calls out to Seo, who instructs him to run quickly. As Gojin flees to save himself, the area begins to collapse behind him. After he reaches a safe spot, he turns around to see the hallway completely destroyed, wondering what might have happened to Seo. Thinking that Seo wasn't the main character, Gojin remarks on the unfortunate nature of the situation, stating that he loves stories with plots based on regression. Meanwhile, Seo continues to fall down the hallway, gripping his sword tightly. He then pierces it into the nearby wall to prevent injury from the fall, and he lands safely on the ground. Upon landing, he receives a notification that he has entered a secret area and smiles. However, right after the notification, he is warned that monsters within the secret area are stronger than those in normal areas, and a portal appears in front of him, activating the path to the normal area. Giving him the option to ask for rescue, the window asks if he would like to give up and return, but he declines, stating that he cannot give up that easily. Thinking he might gain more stats than expected, he reaches a hallway filled with numerous armed demon skeletons. Unleashing flame manipulation, he expresses the need for a chance to grow on his own and directs the flames towards the skeletons, who block the attack with their shields. Despite this, he persists in launching attacks, leading to a continuous increase in his stats, using which he goes on to increase his strength to a significant level. After eliminating the skeletons, Seo realizes that things are becoming easier as his stats increase while feeling astonished to have experienced such a change. Looking at his stat window, he wonders how strong he has become as a result of such an increase. He remembers that in order to rise up the level, it takes more time and effort for the lower-grade fighters as compared to those belonging to the higher classes. He thinks that Gojin, being from the divine class, has the ability to grow stronger much faster than him, and he remembers that he was the first one to clear the first floor in the past. Determined to be the first to get the clear bonus this time, Seo opens the door and enters the next room, thinking he needs to finish everything by that day. Approaching a dark and eerie hallway, he knows it's time to face the boss monster. Observing the creepy environment and blood everywhere, Seo thinks this area has a different vibe than the rest. With a smile, he remarks that this place feels like the real knife mountain of hell and proceeds, using his flame manipulation to light the way. Suddenly, a portal appears in front of him, causing him to hide. From the portal emerge two martial generals of the Knife Mountain of Hell, which are formidable tertiary human-grade monsters. Recognizing them, Seo thinks that looking at them this closely gives a different feeling. Although he does not feel scared, his body keeps shaking out of nervousness, and he tries to calm himself down by stating that he will surely win against them if he follows the plan. As he prepares to leave his hiding spot, one of the generals launches a sudden attack that he manages to block and strikes the monster with flames. This leads the monster to scream in agony while he quickly starts to run away, feeling shocked at the monster finding him without him realizing it. Seeing the monster causing havoc and pain, Seo realizes his fire attacks are effective due to the gold attribute of the generals. Seizing the opportunity, he swings his sword with all his might, beheading the monster. To his surprise, the monster quickly regenerates, with a notification stating he needs to defeat both monsters together to stop their restoration ability. Understanding that direct confrontation is futile, Seo uses his stat points to boost agility and flees at high speed. Suddenly, swords start to emerge from the floor and walls, inflicting countless wounds on his body, but he keeps running until he exits the hallway. However, just as he reaches outside, he stumbles on a bone and falls to the ground as the martial generals catch up. To save himself, he burns the ropes holding the door to the hallway, causing it to fall on one of the generals, severing its head. However, the previously killed general restores itself at that time and starts to follow him while he runs away, finally able to hear the sound of the wind. As he keeps on running in the direction of the wind, the monster continues to chase him while the other one restores itself and blocks his way from the front. Increasing his strength using stat points, Seo approaches the monster and delivers a powerful blow, causing it to be defeated. As a result of defeating opponents stronger than him, Seo gets additional stat points as a reward. Seo thinks that all that is left to do is exit the boss's room, and he will clear the stage. However, before that, he wants to confirm if he can steal the destiny of a monster by taking on the form of a human and activating his ability to steal destiny. Activating his ability to steal destiny, Seo places his hand on the ground, initiating the analysis. After a few moments, he receives a notification that there are currently 2 dead within the active range. Learning this, he becomes excited, as he had been confident that this could happen. He reflects that in his past life, he couldn't use the ability of destiny stealing due to a lack of mana. This inability stemmed from a restriction on his power. It cost more mana to absorb the destiny the longer the target had been dead. Unless the target had died before him, utilizing his ability was challenging. That was the time when he got the idea of stealing the destiny of a monster resembling a human. However, since he was not able to withstand the energy emanating from the higher demonic realm, he never had a chance to try. While remembering that, he successfully absorbs the skills of the martial generals, gaining the tertiary demonic grade ability Unsheath as a result. To test this ability, he swings his sword around and realizes that it feels comparatively lighter. Yet, gaining such a potent ability also brings an overwhelming amount of karma to him. Despite this, he believes it should still be less than the karma attained from humans, making it worth the outcome. Recalling that humans accumulating excessive karma go beyond the border and reach a miserable condition, he heads towards the portal at the hallway's end. Wondering how close he is to that border, he touches the portal in front of him, receiving a notification that he has cleared the first stage. Opening the door, he returns to the lobby, where others are shocked to see him. At that moment, someone calls out to him, and he becomes shocked and turns around to find Go-jun expressing how happy and excited he is for his ally to have cleared it. However, as Go-jun approaches for a hug, Seo steps back, stating that he isn't his ally and can't be trusted. Just then, Shaesia calls out to Seo, congratulating him on being the first one to clear the floor, and asks if he has some time to talk. After some time in his private room in the training facility, Seo sits looking at the inventory bag and thinks that this reward must be given by a Navi. Tying it to his body, he thinks that he cannot miss the chance of obtaining such an incredible item, despite knowing how difficult it is to obtain them. Dialing the Wi-Fi password, he thinks that he does not want to grab too much attention from the agency. After connecting to the internet, he starts to listen to the news, finding out about the current earthquake, which has caused great damage in the country. After browsing for some time, he wonders if there is no news about the Fate Protection Agency and comes across a video, feeling confused. While playing the video, he hears an announcement from the agency. The team leader makes the announcement, stating that in order to protect all the Awakened from the disaster, the agency is trying its best. Looking at the team leader, Seo activates his ability of destiny detection but finds it to be protected, realizing that the members of the agency use items to protect their destiny. Lying on the bed, he continues to listen to the briefing when the team leaders state that the people should believe in the Fate Protection Agency. This statement feels very awkward to him, and he remembers that the Fate Protection Agency is a collection of only the best among the Awakened. He knows that all the members of the agency are known to hide their faces with masks. While thinking about that, he suddenly realizes that the team leader who is making an announcement is actually the woman who killed the entire Flying Tiger sect in his previous life. Thinking that this woman is a member of the Fate Protection Agency, Seo realizes why people were unable to find out how strong she was, just like he is at the moment. Meanwhile, in an office, the second team leader of the agency slams a notebook on the table, asking if the stage was not supposed to be cleared in 1 week's time. However, the fact that Seo cleared it within a single day with the grade of tertiary insectile annoys him. Turning to Ju Sung-tae, one of the agency members, the team leader tells him to take responsibility for this and write a report to clear the trap that Seo used. Turning to the rest of the members, he tells them to go and clear up the remaining monsters, and they comply and leave. After they all leave, Sung-tae keeps sitting in the meeting room, holding his head. After a while, he begins writing the report while thinking that it is surprising that Seo lured all the monsters into a trap and wondering if he would clear the second floor in a day again. He starts to feel anxious, wondering what would happen if the higher officials knew the person clearing the stage was a mere insectile grade. Meanwhile, in the cafeteria on the first floor, Go-jun sits with Seo, asking if he will not be clearing the second floor that day. Reminding him of the bet they had, Go-jun states that if Seo does not even try, he himself might clear the room before he gets a chance. In response, Seo tells him to do whatever he wants, stating that they cannot be allies until Gojun wins, telling him to leave, but Gojun states that he wants to get closer to Seo. Just then, Sua arrives at the cafeteria with her comrades, who appreciate her saving their lives while she acknowledges that they made an equal effort. Looking at her, Seo smiles, thinking that she is doing well. Meanwhile, Gojun remarks that he hates characters who are too nice, causing Seo to repeat his request for Gojun to leave. Suddenly, he hears someone's voice talking to Sua and her friends and turns around to find a person sitting at the table, thinking that he will have to suffer through that again. The person who is busy comparing their hand sizes states that he is good at reading palms, while the girl sitting next to him agrees, stating that he read her palm accurately. Turning to Sua, the person asks her to let him read her palm, but she hesitates, leading him to insist, stating that they will never get such a chance again. While she is still hesitating, Seo comes to their table, causing the person to give a rude expression at first and then smile. Calling out to him, the person asks if he wants him to read his palm, but Seo refuses. Turning to Sua, he states that he has something to talk about with her, asking her to come aside for a moment. After staring at him in confusion for a while, Sua agrees. Taking Sua away, he states he wants to talk to her in the empty lounge, and she follows. While they are descending the stairs, 2 more trainees come from behind, calling out to Seo and thanking him for letting them use his Wi-Fi. He recalls that after sharing the Wi-Fi password he got as a reward for being the first to clear the first stage, everyone started showing a friendly attitude towards him. However, he feels that this type of friendliness is unfamiliar to him since people have avoided and rejected him in his past life. He remembers that when people refused to interact with him and he simply walked away to avoid creating problems for them, Cheon Gunam was the one who treated him differently. Therefore, despite knowing Cheon's ability to reveal the secret powers of others through hand contact, Seo still made contact with him, leading Cheon to discover Seo's destiny-stealing ability. A few days later, while passing through the corridor, Seo overheard a fellow trainee discussing his ability to steal powers from the dead. Stating that he could try to kill them and steal their powers, his fellow told everyone to be careful of him. Shocked, Seo approached Cheon, asking why he broke his promise by revealing his ability to everyone, yet Cheon refused to take responsibility, asking for proof against him. Realizing that he had no proof to support his claim, Seo became frustrated, thinking that Cheon, being a tertiary ghost-grade palm reader, was the only one who knew about his ability. Remembering this, Seo informs Sua about Cheon's ability, urging her to keep her distance and avoid hand contact. Hearing that, Sua realizes why Cheon was so insistent on reading her palm. Stating that this is all he wanted to say, Seo turns around to leave when Sua stops him. Confused, he faces her, and she reveals she also cleared the room of the Knife Mountain of Hell and asks if he wants to go to the second room with her. In response, Seo states that it would be difficult to go with her, prompting her to ask why. Having no other excuse, Seo states that she currently lacks experience, making her shocked. Slightly frustrated, she asserts she's not as weak as he thinks, but Seo explains her abilities will weaken in the next room with a fire attribute. He tries to explain that the Chi of Gold will disrupt her destiny and that her skill will not help her this time. Turning to the door, he shares his hope that she understands, and she agrees, stating that she understands to some extent. After that, he is about to leave when she stops him, thanking him for his advice, and he hastily exits the room, wondering why she was showing such a friendly attitude. Meanwhile, Sua keeps standing at the door, remembering how Seo turned down her proposal and formed a party with Gojun, which made her think that he wanted to keep some distance. However, considering that he called her out to inform her about Cheon Gunam, she thinks that he could have refused using a different excuse and wonders why he is so honest and caring. As Seo swiftly walks through the corridor, Cheon calls out, asking if he is heading to the second floor with Sua. Putting his hands in his pocket, Seo disagrees, stating that he will be going alone, and starts to walk upstairs, thinking that he needs to get rid of Cheon soon. Just then, Cheon stops him, asking if he wants to form a party with him. Stating that it would be convenient for him, Cheon reveals that he belongs to the Dragon class, which is very high and powerful. Knowing that these are all lies, Seo turns to him and asks what his ability is while activating his ability of destiny detection. In response, Xian reveals his ability of water bombs and making firearms with water, while his Destiny Widow appears, revealing that he actually belongs to the primary human grade. Agreeing to take him along, Siu instructs Qian to prepare and come quickly, surprising him. Happy to have gotten a chance to accompany him, Qian states that he will get ready and come down soon, saying that he starts running upstairs while Seo keeps standing, thinking it to be a relief that Qian approached him first. The second stage, called the Room of Hellfire, has a clear condition of finding the ice crystal and returning to the lobby, with the freedom to take as much time as they want. As they enter the room, Qian looks around and states that the room truly resembles hell, with dried-up land, burned trees, and streams of lava, creating a scorching atmosphere. While walking through the room, Qian remarks that he was initially surprised by how easily Seo accepted his proposal, but he now realizes it was due to his water attribute. Looking ahead, Qian begins to walk and asks if Seo has seen the clear conditions while Seo pulls out his sword. Observing the stream of lava, he states that there is ice in this place and wonders how it is possible for ice to be present in such a hot place. Meanwhile, Seo comes closer, holding his sword, and states they will soon find it. With that, he raises his sword up in the air, while Qian continues looking ahead, unaware of Seo's intention. Feeling something strange, Qian quickly turns around and becomes shocked as Seo activates his unsheathing ability, slashing his sword to sever the head of a frog that was about to attack. Seeing this, Qian remarks that he didn't expect to encounter a monster right at the beginning, while Seo informs him that more are coming, leaving him shocked. In front of them, they spot an entire army of fire frogs, tertiary insectile-grade monsters, rushing toward them to attack. Considering frogs to be easy targets, Qian takes out a water bottle and activates his abilities, striking all the frogs at once with his powers, causing them to die. Realizing that his powers work effectively in this area, Qian states that this will be easy as long as they find the ice crystal, and Seo agrees. While he keeps on looking here and there, Seo turns around, thinking that he is already aware of the location of the crystal and wonders what to do with Qian. Meanwhile, Qian notices Seo smile and thinks that he might be happy to have decided to bring him along. After some time, as they keep on proceeding while slaying the fire frogs, Qian starts to feel dizzy after losing a considerable amount of mana, while Seo keeps killing them with his sword. Considering that he is unable to use his powers anymore, Qian thinks that he has no choice but to fight with the sword like Seo. However, because he is feeling dizzy, he is unable to see the frogs that start to jump up his body, causing him to feel a burning sensation due to their hot bodies. Unable to endure it, he calls out to Seo for help, prompting Seo to turn around and see Qian lying on the ground with a frog on him. Taking a sigh, he kills the frog and tells Qian to retreat if he can't keep up, as he can handle it alone. In response, Qian states that he will be fine if he rests a little, while Seo simply walks away. Frustrated by his attitude, Qian thinks that Seo has become proud and arrogant after completing the first stage alone. Getting up, he thinks that he partied up with Seo to check his class and ability, which he can't because Seo's hands are bandaged. Trying to infer from his abilities, Qian thinks that Seo seems to be hiding something and decides to check it at a time when he lets his guard down. Thinking that, he sits upon a stone to rest a little, but the stone actually turns out to be a monster that opens its eyes and gets up, causing Qian to fall down and call out to Seo for help again. In response, Seo takes out his sword at a swift speed and slashes the monster, causing it to die in an instant. Feeling startled, Qian thinks that he let his guard down without realizing that there were monsters other than frogs. Calling out to Qian, Seo states that he has now saved him twice. He remarks that these monsters are annoying to kill and suggests they proceed forward before more of them start coming. Frustrated by Seo's boasting about saving him, Qian smiles and agrees to proceed forward, all the while thinking that Seo is not that great. Barely controlling his frustration, Qian thinks that he will deal with Seo once his mana recovers. Just then, Seo turns to him and asks if he has anything to say, and he smiles in response, stating that he is thankful for Seo's help. After covering some distance, they see a round object shining on a stone in the middle of the lava stream. Qian points to it and asks if it is the ice crystal they were supposed to find, which shocks Seo. Looking at the object, Qian becomes excited and states that it really is the crystal they were looking for, and they only need to take it and return to the lobby to clear this room. He thinks that if this is the only crystal present in the place, they will be the first ones to clear the room. However, thinking that people might consider Seo to be the one who made this happen, Cheon starts to run towards the stream to take it and go out first, despite Seo stopping him. Ignoring Seo's calls, Cheon keeps running towards the object at great speed, thinking that the first person to take it will be the one to clear the room. Thinking about the reward, the honor, the respect, and the looks of admiration that he will receive, he feels overexcited. Considering that he will gain all this, he reaches for the object and tries to hold it, but finds it to be squishy. This makes him realize that it is not the ice crystal, but instead a fire frog's egg sac that he is touching, which causes numerous fire frogs to emerge from the lava stream and attack him. Feeling helpless, he starts calling out to Seo again, but this time, instead of helping, Seo states that this is the karma he is receiving for trying to stab him in the back. Saying that, he starts to walk away while Cheon keeps on calling out to him, requesting that he save his life. After some time, Seo reaches inside the room of the Hellfire Crystal Cave, holding a few dead fire frogs, and finds the ice crystal of a tertiary ghostly grade. After achieving the ice crystal, he opens the shop window, remembering that he attained the spirit pearls after killing the worms and used those to access the shop window. From the window, he purchases an item called a prayer chest by trading his accomplishment stats instead of money and puts the ice crystal inside it. After that, he brings his hands together and starts to pray, thinking that the ice crystal is a tertiary ghostly grade item and what he wants is a primary ghostly grade item, thinking that it is possible for him to attain it despite the difference because of the same grade of both items. He opens the chest, causing a bright light to emerge from it. As the light subsides, he realizes that instead of a primary ghostly grade item, he has a tertiary insectile grade insect honey, causing disappointment. Breaking more ice crystals from the cave, he starts putting them inside the chest, thinking that he will get it through quantity if not quality. Meanwhile, Cheon, who somehow managed to survive in the lava stream, gets out badly injured and starts searching for Seo to seek revenge for leaving him alone in his time of need. He vows to kill Seo with his sword once he finds him and walks around, suddenly coming across a shining object that makes him wonder if it is an egg like before. However, after closely examining it for some time, he realizes that it is not an egg, but rather something they were searching for. Suddenly, everyone present in the lobby is notified that the second door to the room of Hellfire has been cleared. Following that, Cheon emerges from within, holding a fire frog with an ice crystal stuck in its body, overjoyed to have achieved it. Upon seeing him, everyone in the lobby is amazed, asking how he managed to clear the floor in just a single day. Seeing their reactions, he feels happy, knowing that this is something he truly wanted to accomplish. All of a sudden, he notices Seo sitting at a distance, which surprises him. Approaching Seo, Cheon asks why he ran away on his own, mentioning that he had been searching for him in the room for so long. In response, Seo gives an expression as if he is confused and amazed. While they are engrossed in conversation, Chaixia approaches from behind, calling out to Cheon as the first one to clear the room of Hellfire, and he happily turns around, stating that he is there. Turning back to Seo, Cheon states that he will forgive him this time due to his achievement and extends his hand as a symbol of reconciliation. Feeling a little nervous, Seo brings his hand forward while Cheon activates his ability to read palms and shakes his hand, telling him not to be scared. Having gotten the information about his ability, Cheon turns around, feeling good about being the first one to clear the room and observing Seo's somewhat pitiful expressions. Just then, a window appears in front of him, revealing that Seo belongs to a tertiary insectile grade with the attribute of flame. Surprised by his lower grade, Cheon looks at him with a cold expression, thinking that he expected Seo to be at least of a humanly grade. Realizing that he went through all these hardships because of a mere insectile grade, he becomes frustrated. Looking at his expressions, Seo becomes confused for a while and then starts to smile, thinking that he got the item he wanted just in time. Under his shirt, Seo has concealed a primary ghostly grade destiny protection charm that hides specific parts of his destiny, preventing others from reading those in the destiny window. He remembers that he could not prepare many items due to a lack of ice crystals and left after getting the charm, but Cheon found one of the crystals he put into the fire frog. In the meantime, Cheon confidently shares his grade and abilities with Chaixia, prompting her to inquire about how he found the ice crystal. From a distance, Go-jun observes them, surprised that even Seo returned empty-handed, whereas Cheon managed to clear the room in a single day. As Chasia departs, Go-jun calls out to Cheon, stating that he is amazing, while Cheon turns around, recalling that Go-jun was a tertiary divine grade. Go-jun reveals that he had been attempting this room for a few days but kept failing, and Seo also turned out to be weaker than expected. Agreeing with this, Cheon informs him that Seo is a tertiary insectile grade who ran away on his own simply due to a crowd of monsters, which surprises Go-jun. Returning to his world of dreams, Go-jun comments that Cheon seems more like a main character than Seo. This remark makes Cheon flattered, and he agrees, prompting Go-jun to ask if they can talk for a moment. Meanwhile, Seo, who has been overhearing their conversation, smiles and looks at the window in front of him, notifying him that the destinies of Go-jun and Cheon are intertwining. Walking away, he feels relieved that Go-jun will stop paying attention to him for some time because of his interest in Cheon. Meanwhile, Go-jun and Cheon keep talking to each other, leading to the worst destiny combination that leads evil energy to creep into their destiny. Thinking that Go-jun will take care of Cheon for him, Seo feels happy, considering that everything is going better than he expected. Meanwhile, another emergency meeting is called by the second team leader of the agency. During the meeting, the leader questions Chasia about Cheon's abilities, initially assuming he was of a ghostly grade, but Chasia reveals that he is just humanly grade. Hearing that, he asks if there was someone who went inside with him, and she reveals that it was Seo, leaving Sungtae shocked. Considering that Seo went with him but Cheon was the only one to clear it, the team leader thinks that this is something unbelievable. Chasia shares that Cheon told her something strange, recalling his claim that he was killing the fire frogs and found that one of them had swallowed an ice crystal. Hearing that, the team leader becomes surprised, stating that they set up a barrier that made it impossible for the monsters to approach the crystal cave. In response, Chasia opens up a window showing him frogs roaming around in the cave and states that the barrier was down and the monsters did approach the crystals and ate them. Enraged by this revelation, the team leader turns to Sungtae, demanding an explanation for his apparent negligence. However, Sungtae defends himself, saying that he did check multiple times but there was definitely no problem. He shares his view that if the stages are cleared earlier than expected, this just means that they have more capable trainees. In response, the team leader slams his hand on the table, asking if Sungtae will take responsibility for that statement. He challenges Sungtae to admit if his plans were flawless, and it is just because of the capable trainees who can move on to the third stage. Sungtae lowers his head, unable to respond as the team leader continues to press him about taking responsibility for any potential trainee casualties. The team leader emphasizes that from the third stage onward, the true challenges will begin, and without proper preparation, they will all perish in the real demon realm. He stresses the need to improve the trainees' skills significantly while keeping a close watch on Seo. The next day, Seo and the others reach the entrance of the third room, only to discover a message stating that the opening date of the third room has been postponed, leaving them confused. A few days later in the cafeteria, Seo is busy getting his lunch from the counter when he overhears people talking about the raid method that Cheon told them. While one of them thinks that Cheon's directions might be wrong, the other one disagrees, stating that lying would not benefit Cheon in any way. However, he feels a little suspicious, thinking that those who cleared the second stage after Cheon were all those who never had an interaction with him. Discussing Seo and Go-jun clearing the stage a long time after him, one of them reveals that they do not work together anymore, causing the other to suggest they should simply explore it instead. Hearing their conversation, Seo realizes that Cheon went around spreading false information about the raid, which is why he was abandoned by Go-jun. Just then, a window appears in front of him, displaying a message from Chasia, calling all the trainees to meet her in the hall sometime later. After some time, all the trainees gather in front of the third gate and are greeted by Chasia, who states that she has called them to guide them about the third gate. Pointing to the gate behind her, she announces that they will be allowed entry to the third gate, causing excitement among them. She reveals that from the third gate onward, they will be entering the true demon realm instead of the training grounds prepared by the agency. Therefore, from now on, she instructs everyone to move together, leaving Seo feeling a little disappointed. She states that the environment of the true demon realm is much more severe, and they will encounter a stronger and greater variety of monsters. Chasia also reveals that they will be watched over by divine beings during their raid on the demon realm. She instructs them that whenever they hear the voice of a divine being, they should not immediately reply but check the newly updated manual first. Following, all of them check the manual and find it to have been updated, while Chasia explains that they have added various ways to respond to different situations in the realm. Stating that this is all the advice she can give, she requests that they try their best not to die, increasing their anxiety and nervousness. As they start to anxiously discuss their course of action among each other, Seo stands still, thinking about something. Just then, a girl comes from behind, trying to startle him, but he quickly recognizes her as Bomb and greets her. Feeling surprised at him recognizing her, Bomb's twin brother appears from the other side, remarking that he is the only one who never gets them confused like others. In response, Seo smiles, thinking that he can never confuse them since Sua, and they were the only ones who talked to him when everyone else abandoned him because of Cheon. Moreover, because they have different destinies despite being twins, Seo can never mix them up. Activating his destiny detection ability, Seo opens Bomb's destiny window, finding that she belongs to a primary draconic grade with the perfect marksmanship of a primary ghostly grade. Opening her brother Gyul's destiny window, Seo finds out that he also belongs to a primary draconic grade but has the ability of a one-shot perfect hit in a primary ghostly grade. Taking a sigh, Seo thinks that the events cannot change, remembering that in his past life, Bomb survived while Gyul died on the third stage. Considering that he must try to save him, Seo calls out to Gyul, asking if he would like to go to the third stage with him. Agreeing, Gyul states that he does not want to go with his sister, making Bomb feel annoyed. In response, Seo reveals that he wants to take both of them, determined to save them this time. After that, he opens the door of the room, known as the Room of Ice, which has the condition of hunting more than one of the monsters of each category in the Ice Valley within 14 days. Due to the strong water energy in the realm, Seo's destiny is weakened, leading to a 10% decrease in his stats. While walking through the Room of Ice, the twin siblings remark about the cold weather, stating that they can't see properly due to the snowstorm. Suddenly, they come across adorable-looking rabbits that cutely stare at them, making them remark that it would be difficult to kill such innocent creatures. However, just at that moment, one of the rabbits' eyes starts to glow with fierce intent, and they rush forward to attack, causing them to swing their swords and kill them all. After killing the rabbits, they discover that these creatures are actually eye-horned rabbits belonging to the primary insectile grade. After getting rid of all the rabbits, all three of them sit down and browse through their shop window, remarking that despite there being so many items, there is no search feature. Looking at Seo comfortably browsing through the shop, the siblings ask how he does that so easily, and he states that it is similar to a game he used to play. Calling out to him, Gyul asks him to take a look at his weapons, stating his intention to buy a bow and an arrow. After some time, as Seo helps them get all their required items, they become fully equipped and start to proceed forward efficiently, killing all the monsters in their way. Watching the twin siblings fight amongst each other as usual, Seo recalls that Bomb was a shooter, whereas Gyul was an archer for the national teams. He thinks that their hunting efficiency is really improving since they are using the weapons they are familiar with. He remembers Bomb becoming a top-class sniper in his past life and believes Gyul would have achieved the same if he had stayed alive. Thinking that they would be better off together, Seo remembers that after Gyul's death in his previous life, Bomb became a completely different person and stopped smiling. In her quest for revenge against the monsters for killing her sister, Bomb focused all her attention on monster hunting. This made her grow stronger much faster, and she was scouted into the Sura sect, one of the 5 great sects, yet she was never truly happy. Considering that both the siblings have good destinies, Seo believes they can become really strong and decides to ensure that Gyul lives for his sister's sake. He vows to help them get into the Flying Tiger sect so that the members of the Flying Tiger sect who were killed by Bomb as a Sura sect sniper will survive. With this resolve, Seo decides to keep an eye on Gyul and turns around to find Bomb hunting alone, realizing that Gyul is missing. Leaving their hunting aside, both Bomb and Seo start running around, searching for Gyul and calling out to her loudly. While searching for him, Bomb states that he left the place to go to the bathroom and then disappeared. Knowing where they might find him, Seo mentions hearing screams from a specific direction, and they run there, confusing Bomb. Arriving at a certain spot, they start to clearly hear Yuel's screams from a pit and get near to find him inside with another person sitting on the ground. Telling him not to worry, Seo jumps down to him, asking if he is alright. Stating that he is fine, Yuel points at the person sitting beside him, stating that he does not look fine. Looking at the person, Seo recognizes him as Cheon and feels surprised, while Cheon feels frustrated, realizing that Yuel's teammate was none other than Seo. Approaching him, Seo asks if he needs help, but Cheon bursts into anger, stating that he doesn't need assistance from someone like Seo. Hearing this, Seo turns to Gyul and suggests they leave, confusing him. Gyul reveals that Cheon's legs have been paralyzed due to a dangerous monster attack, making Seo realize that he is suffering from paralysis poison. Turning to him, Seo states that it must have been due to the rabbits and tells him that this impact will go away on its own. Hearing that, Gyul feels surprised, remarking that the rabbits are the weakest monsters present in the third room, which intensifies Cheon's frustration. Slamming the ground forcefully, Cheon thinks that Seo needs to experience shame to truly understand how it feels, while Seo departs. Just then, he hears a voice stating that bad people should pay the price for what they've done, and it asks if Cheon needs help. Upon hearing this, Cheon feels surprised and looks up, asking who is speaking to him. Meanwhile, Seo takes Bomb and Jewel back to the portal, stating that they will return that day since the difficulty level increases when it gets dark. As they insist on continuing, citing their improved stats, Seo replies that there is no rush since it is only the first day. Hearing that, they ask if he will be accompanying them the next day as well, and he agrees, making them happy and excited. Just as they are about to return, Seo feels something strange and starts to hear a voice. Realizing something, he tells the twins to return to the lobby and starts to run back himself, stating that he has forgotten something and will be back after taking it. Meanwhile, in a different part of the room, Suwa and her comrades are stuck between a large horde of demonic monsters. Meanwhile, in a different part of the room, Suwa and her comrades are stuck between a large horde of demonic monsters charging at them with fierce intent. While she is telling everyone to calm down, the monsters attack them and break their weapons with their sharp teeth. Realizing that the monsters are overpowering them, Suwa unleashes her tree leaf ability, piercing strong vines through the bodies of the monsters and instructing others to stay behind her. In the midst of this, a monster lunges at her, gripping her sword in its teeth. Shielding the others with her tree leaf technique, Suwa swings her sword, forcing the monster away, and starts fighting against the group of monsters alone. Suddenly, a monster leaps onto her back and pierces its teeth into her shoulder, causing blood to spurt out, and she wishes to have someone who can help her in the battle. Just then, strong flames hit the monster biting her, causing it to fall to the ground, and Seo appears from her front, holding the sword in his hand. Looking at Seo, who is killing the monster tirelessly, she becomes surprised and starts to fight again. After they finish killing all the monsters, Suo remarks that it to be a very quick intervention and smiles, thanking Seo for his help. However, Seo remains silent in response, with a serious expression on his face. Back in the lobby, while all the members of the group heal through the totem pole, he scolds them all for not running away despite knowing that the situation was disadvantageous for them. He states that they should run if they cannot win and are capable enough to run away without being injured. In response, Suo states that although he keeps calling her weak, she was able to fight against the monster, causing Seo to burst into anger, stating that she was just lucky this time. He attempts to make her understand that things could have gone differently if the monsters possessed hidden abilities or if no one had come to their aid. He states that their deaths would have been pointless in that case. Feeling angry, Seo asks if she intends on dying in her effort to protect others, remarking that helping others is something only strong people can do. Telling her not to forget, he starts to walk away, stating that she will only leave the building as a corpse if she lets her guard down. After he leaves, Sua's comrades come to her, reminding her that Seo was very harsh with her and wanted her to act selfishly by leaving her comrades to die. However, instead of feeling bad, Sua smiles, stating that he was only worried about her, which is why he came to help. Wondering why he keeps pretending to be a bad person, she states that he is actually very affectionate. Therefore, she calls out to him, thanking him for worrying about her, and he takes a sigh, realizing that he cannot make a bad impression on her no matter what. After a few days, Gojin becomes the first one to clear the stage, while Seo continues to hunt along with Bomb and Jiul. Soon after, Seo clears the room as well, but Bam and Jewel feel disappointed to find that someone else has already cleared it before him, stating that he was so close. Turning to him, they ask if he will be leaving them, but he disagrees, stating that he will stay with them until they are done. Hearing that, they happily start to run ahead to complete their hunt as soon as possible, while Seo thinks that his purpose of staying is to find the hidden clear reward. Looking at Bam and Jewel, he thinks that he is a little worried because the raiding was done a bit quicker than in his past life. Activating his ability of destiny detection to check, Seo finds out that the energy of death is near, making him wonder if there is someone else other than Yule who is going to die. Suddenly, his thoughts turn to Qian, who was manipulated by malevolent energy and left immobilized in a pit. Recollecting this, Seo contemplates whether to end Cheon's life. With this thought in mind, he calls out to Bam and Jewol, telling them that he is heading towards the hill and urging them to stick together while hunting instead of splitting up. Thinking that it would be fine as long as they are together, Seo starts to move away and finally encounters Cheon, who discloses that he had been searching for Seo. Wielding his newfound ice powers, Cheon expresses his intention to avenge the humiliation he suffered due to Seo earlier. In response, Seo smiles and draws his sword, asking if he is even capable of that. Agreeing, Cheon unleashes his power, stating that he is the main character and can hear the voice of the divine being. Telling him to prepare himself, Cheon throws sharp icicles, an embodiment of divine power, at him. Thinking that he was expecting it to happen, Seo remembers Chaeshev telling them about the divine being closely observing them during their hunt. Realizing that Cheon is possessed by a divine being, Seo activates his destiny detection ability and identifies the divine being as the little guest of the play. He knows that those who are possessed by the divine being are called shamans, who earn strong powers upon possession. Considering it to be a low-class divine being, Seo charges his sword with flame powers, thinking that the possession has only increased Cheon's mana a little, along with providing a new ability. This ability allows him to throw icicles at his target, which cause smallpox wherever they hit. Thinking that he will suffer from smallpox if the icicles touch him, Seo thinks of it as an annoying ability and takes a sigh. Thinking that he will first need to decrease Cheon's mana, he swings his sword in the air and starts running away while Cheon follows him, stating that there is no point in escaping. Cheon threatens that divine punishment will pursue Seo to the ends of the earth, unleashing an icicle barrage. However, a herd of hogs intervenes, absorbing the attack and frustrating Cheon. As the hogs collapse, Cheon redirects his powers towards Seo. Feeling annoyed due to the continuous disturbance of the hogs, he rushes forward to leave the place and simply follow Seo. All of a sudden, he collides with a gigantic hog that throws him away, causing him to experience intense pain. As the hog runs away, another divine being appears, stating that they came to watch because they heard there is a human possessed by a divine being, but he is not even strong. Hearing that the other one replies that such a weak person is fitting for a low-class divine being, Cheon's frustration. Realizing that the divine beings other than those affiliated with him or watching him, he becomes embarrassed, asking if his defeat feels amusing to them. Stating that this is exactly the case, Seo comes from behind and pierces his sword through Cheon's body, causing him to experience intense pain. Lying on the ground, badly injured, Cheon calls out to his divine being for help, but no reply comes. Calling out to him, Seo pulls his sword out of Cheon's body, causing him to scream in agony, and asks if Cheon's quest for vengeance is over. Bringing the sword near his neck, Seo states that he has been lurking around him for a while, which must be because he knew what the risks were. However, as he is about to kill Cheon, Bam comes running from behind, calling out to him. Seeing her, Seo quickly pierces his sword into the ground instead of killing him, stating that he is lucky. Seo warns that he won't spare Cheon next time, then sheathes his sword and gets up, putting his sword back into the sheath. After that, he walks towards Bam, asking what the problem is, while Cheon moves away in a different direction. In response, Bam tells him that a herd of snow hogs came running and swept Jewel away with them, leaving Seo shocked. Remembering that he was prophesied to have an unfortunate destiny full of evil energy, Seo recalls all his friends and fellows abandoning him because of that. While he is thinking about that, Bam calls out to him, asking if he is okay, making him wonder if he is the cause of all this. Considering that he cannot let anyone get harmed because of him, Seo quickly moves away, stating that he will save Jewel. As he starts to walk away, Bam runs after him to accompany him, but he stops her, stating that she should go back. However, she refuses to go back, stating that she will come along, making Seo express his worry about her well-being. In response, Bam states that he forbade them from walking in this area alone, and she can't go back alone when her brother is in danger. Hearing that, Seo replies that he will send her back if he thinks the mission is dangerous or if it gets darker, and she agrees. While walking, Seo thinks that although he does not remember how Jewel died in his past life, he knows that he was found somewhere around that location, and he hopes he is not dead. Looking around the area, Bam remarks that she cannot see any monsters, while Seo thinks to himself that it's because no low-class monster would dare set foot in a predator's territory. Suddenly, they hear a strange sound, causing Bam to ask what it was, while Seo quickly pulls her away, and they hide without making a sound. Just then, a gigantic Yeti appears from behind, holding a snow hog in its hand. Looking at it, Seo feels shocked to find Jewel held in the other hand of the Yeti. Desperate to save her brother, Bam takes out her gun, pointing it towards the Yeti, but Seo pulls her back, covering her face with his hand to stop her from making a sound. Telling her to wait, Seo activates his destiny-stealing ability to find out if Jewel is dead or alive and realizes that he is still alive, which makes him feel relieved. Stating that fighting the Yeti at the moment will put Jewel in further danger, Seo looks at the Yeti and remarks that it seems to be moving towards its nest. He states that they need to wait for the Yeti to put Jewel down first. Looking at it, Bam asks if they will attack it once it puts Jewel down, but Seo replies that they will try to avoid fighting with it since it is much stronger. As the Yeti walks towards its nest, Seo gives a flare gun to Bam, telling her to fire it to lure the Yeti and run towards the entrance. Telling her to simply run while avoiding fighting, Seo asks if she can do that, and she agrees while he assures her that he will save Jewel in the meantime. With their plan decided, Seo jumps down from where they are standing, thinking that Bam is capable enough to accurately do what she's told. Meanwhile, Bam, who is closely watching the Yeti, waits for it to put Jewel down, and as soon as it does, she shoots the flare gun. This causes a bright light to emerge from the place with a jerk that leaves the Yeti startled. Angry at the disturbance, the Yeti turns around and starts to run after Bam, who quickly heads in the direction of the portal according to the plan. As the Yeti leaves, Seo runs towards the nest and finds Jewel lying unconscious there. He lifts him up, realizing he can't provide medication to him at the moment. Thinking he needs to take him to the lobby quickly, he turns around, only to find another Yeti behind him. Enraged at Seo for stealing their food, the Yeti throws away the monster it was holding and rushes towards Seo, making him realize how unlucky he is. Meanwhile, Bam, who continuously shoots the flare gun while running in a different direction, successfully diverts the Yeti's attention. However, all of a sudden, the Yeti hears its fellows growl and turns around, heading back towards its nest, leaving Bam confused. Wondering why it's going away instead of chasing her, Bam repeatedly fires the flare gun, but the Yeti remains unfazed, perplexing her. Meanwhile, close to the nest, the other Yeti charges at Seo, who feels disappointed by his luckless fate. Just before the Yeti can attack, Seo uses his flame manipulation ability to melt the ice beneath his feet, allowing him to slide backward at high speed. Yet, unlucky as usual, before he can escape, the Yeti that was chasing Bam returns and rushes towards him from the opposite side. As both Yetis run towards him, Seo stands his ground in the middle, swiftly escaping as they approach. Going to the nest, he breaks it and sets it ablaze, placing Jewel inside to save her from the attack. After that, he turns to the Yetis and pulls out his sword, stating that he was going to hunt anyway. Determined to eliminate the monsters before they escape, Seo walks towards them, gripping the sword, while the Yetis growl and charge at him with fierce intent in their eyes. After a brief moment of contemplation, Seo smirks, confident that his plan will work. With that, he starts to run towards the monsters, but instead of attacking them, he focuses on dodging their attacks, causing them to recklessly strike the ground in an attempt to hit him. Dodging their attacks for some time, he drives them into a state of furious madness, prompting them to blindly pursue him wherever he goes. Seizing the opportunity, he climbs onto one of the Yetis, seeing that the other one also climbs up its body, causing them both to crash to the ground while Seo gets away. The impact causes the already cracked ground to break further, leading one of the Yeetis to fall deep inside and perish. Getting a notification of his success, Seo looks back at the scene with satisfaction, recalling that the demon realm comprises terrains of snow and ice like the one where Jewel fell. Observing the other Yeti struggling to climb, Seo walks away, knowing that it won't succeed no matter how hard it tries. Seeing him walk away, the Yeti angrily hits the ground with such force that it breaks, causing Seo to fall down, feeling disappointed. However, before he can crash into the pit, strong vines appear underneath him, saving him from the dangerous fall. Above the pit, he finds Soa standing, who repeats his words, stating that if he leaves his guard down, he will only be leaving the training area as a dead man. In response, Seo smiles, thanking her for saving him, but she mentions that he should thank Bomb, who asked her to help. She tells him to hold onto the vines while she pulls him up, but Seo asks her to take him down first so that he can check something. After some time, as he comes out of the pit, he finds Bomb sitting next to Gyul, who still lies in a state of unconsciousness, making her increasingly worried. Looking at them, Seo runs in their direction, wondering if it is too late and if they are powerless in front of the destinies that they were born with. However, a few moments later, Jewel regains consciousness, remarking that it is too cold here, and turns to Bomb, asking where they are, while she keeps staring at him with tears in her eyes. While Seo gazes at him in disbelief, a window materializes in front of him, indicating that the deadly aura of the white tiger has dissipated from Jewel. Overjoyed, he hurries towards Jewel, receiving a sudden notification that his destiny class has been upgraded due to the altered fate. While he stares at the window in disbelief, Bomb comes to him, thanking him for saving Jewel's life. Looking at her, he smiles, deciding to think about these things later, and watches Jewel eating recovery medicine, thinking that his well-being is most important at the moment. Meanwhile, in another part of the room, Cheon angrily walks away while badly injured. Feeling angry at the divine being for not helping him, he states that he should not have accepted the assistance of such a weak divine being. Enraged by his remark, the divine being forbids him to cross the line and goes away, leaving him bewildered. While he is calling out to the divine being, he hears footsteps and turns around to find Gojin standing behind him. Suddenly, the ground beneath him starts to crack, causing him to get stuck inside, and he asks Gojin for help, telling him about Seo attacking him. Stating that Seo is the real villain in the game, Cheon tells Gojin that they need to work together to fight against him. In response, Gojin states that if he were the main character, he would have dealt with the situation instead of losing to Seo, but he tries to explain that Seo escaped like a coward. However, refusing to listen, Gojin remarks that Cheon does not seem to be the main character. Cheon insists in response that he is indeed the main character, but Gojin simply states that if he is the main character, he can come out of the pit on his own. Hearing that, Cheon becomes annoyed, turns to Gojin, and states that he is not the main character and needs his help to come out. In response, Gojin turns to him, stating that if Cheon is not the main character, then he cannot bother to help an extra. With that, Gojin starts to walk away while Cheon keeps calling out to him, asking for his help. As he proceeds in the room, fighting against countless demonic creatures, Bomb and Jewel arrive from behind, stating that they are done with the hunting. While they argue amongst themselves for taking the credit, Seo looks at them and smiles. Suddenly, he notices something, becoming shocked when the woman who killed his clan members in his past life appears behind them out of nowhere. Turning to her, Bomb and Jewel ask who she is. Repeating what she said in his past life, the woman tells them to let her take Seo Gangram in return for their own lives. Enraged by that, both Bomb and Jewel point their weapons at her, while Seo runs to stop them, knowing how dangerous it is to fight against a person like her. However, before he can reach them, the demonic creatures halt his movement and cover his face tightly, making him unable to inform them of the danger. Having no other choice, Seo starts to fight against the demons. However, when he finally manages to free himself, he realizes that Bomb and Jewel have already died at the hands of the ruthless woman. Watching them lie in the pool of blood, voices start to echo in Seo's ears, blaming him for the tragic end of everyone who accompanied and supported him. Telling him not to forget that, the spirits of Bomb and Jewel appear behind him, stating that he is the one who killed them. The next morning, he wakes up, realizing that it was just a dream, and vows to never let that happen again. Considering it to be a warning for that incident to be close, he remembers how his act of saving Gyul from the Yeti caused them both to think of him as their savior. However, realizing how dangerous his company is to them, he decides to distance himself from them. The next day, before entering the fourth room, Bam and Gyul come to his room, asking him to accompany them to the fourth room, but he declines, stating that he has other things to do. Hearing that Sua is also going with them, Seo thinks that he will not have to worry about them and states that she seems like a nice person, but he is busy this time and closes the door. Walking away, one of them remarks that Seo has been distancing himself from them after they cleared the third room, and the other one agrees, stating that he must have his own reasons. As they come down the stairs, they inform Sua that Seo is not going with them to the fourth floor. Accepting that they cannot do anything about it, Sua decides to simply enter the fourth room and reach the door with them. The fourth training room is referred to as the Room of the Sword Forest. To clear it, they need to hunt monsters and collect 1,000 spirit pearls in the knife-sharp forest maze. Realizing that it is a forest this time, both Bam and Jewel become happy, remarking that the environment in the fourth room is very refreshing. Just then, Sua informs them that something is coming, telling them to get ready, causing them to ask if it is a monster. However, as the strong wind begins to blow, leaves start to fall in their direction, hitting their bodies like knives and injuring them, making them realize that the forest itself is dangerous. They are informed that the Room of the Sword Forest is endless, and once a person reaches the end, they will end up reaching the front again. Learning that, the twins remark that collecting 1,000 spirit pearls is going to take a long time in such a place, while Sua suggests looking around first. While walking ahead, Bam instructs Gyul to stay with her instead of straying off, stating that Seo told them to stay together to avoid danger. While they discuss how it would have been better if he had come with them, Sua looks at them, thinking that Seo must have treated them nicely. Remembering the rude remarks he gave her, she smiles, thinking that he does have a way with words, but is a nice person from the inside. Meanwhile, Jewel notices something at a distance and starts to walk towards it despite Bam stopping him. Hearing their voices, Sua turns around and calls out to Gyul, telling him to stop immediately. Just then, he looks ahead of him with shock, and the surroundings suddenly get covered in blood. Meanwhile, Seo, who is sitting in his room, looks at a creature resembling an egg placed on the table in front of him and remarks that it is more atrocious than he thought. This creature is actually an unknown egg whose class is decided after hatching, which he got as a reward for killing the Yeti, and hatches based on what is fed to it. Thinking that he knows what he wants to hatch, Seo ties up its mouth and puts it aside for that time. Thinking that this is not the only thing he got, Seo remembers that he killed the Yeti and absorbed their powers using his destiny-stealing abilities, becoming more powerful as a result. Using those powers, he changed his flame attribute to water and returned his decreased stats to normal. He remembers that he could not even buy a proper weapon in the room because he had to continuously buy water attribute-tolerant food, which caused him to wish for a water attribute. Considering that he will not have to face this problem in the future, he decides to buy weapons when he enters the next demon realm. After some time, he enters the Room of the Sword Forest, while the divine beings keep discussing whether their experience in the fourth room will be interesting or not. Considering that they are so low-class to start talking like that as soon as he has entered, he decides to turn off the communication setting on the window. However, he is informed that he cannot do it because he lacks the amount of spiritual power it requires, making him disappointed. Impressed by his guts, the guardian of the sword forest offers him a possession. Considering that it must be the territorial divine of the demon realm, Seo opens the shop window. He knows that the territorial divines are the divine beings that rule over a certain region, and with their possession, a person can become stronger than anyone in that divine being's demon realm. However, the divine being is only tied to one specific region, and leaving that place makes the possession useless. Thinking that he will not have to worry about getting lost in the forest if he accepts the possession, he purchases a demon realm map. Opening the map, he remarks that this is all he needs to find his way in the forest. The map is initially a general outline that keeps getting more detailed as he moves around the place. He is informed that there are multiple entrances to the demon realm, making him wonder if he is approaching the fourth area. He recalls that the protection agency's trainees are divided into various areas, but in the later rooms where people start dying, the raid is carried out with trainees from other areas. While he is walking around, The guardian asks if he is looking for something and offers to help him if he accepts his possession. In response, Seo stays silent for a while and then states that he is not going to accept the proposal, telling the divine being to give up. Just then, a divine being known as the Master of All Flames appears in front of him, recommending that he accept his possession, leaving him shocked. This powerful divine being states that all the other divine beings connected to the trial are nothing and offers to make him much stronger, considering that he has a flame attribute. Seeing that, Seo considers it very impressive, especially for a person of a mere insectile grade. However, he still decides not to accept it and quietly starts to proceed forward, making the Master of Flames wonder why he is not responding. After some time, a gigantic mantis appears in front of him, which he effortlessly slays using his sword, taking out the 36th spirit pearl from its mouth, thinking that he still needs to collect a lot. However, he knows that he doesn't necessarily have to hunt 1,000 monsters to collect them, since even a single monster can give him hundreds and thousands of spirit pearls. Remembering that he killed a bunch of mantises last time because he was not strong enough, Seo thinks that he does not need to do it this time and walks away. Thinking that each ghostly great monster counts as 10 spirit pearls, Seo decides to go further in. However, as he starts to walk, he finds traces of traps, which make him confused. Looking at the blood spilled on the ground, he wonders if the masked murderer of the fourth room is already on the move. He remembers that in his past life, he became a target of the masked murderer but was saved by Sua, who happened to be in that area. However, she ended up losing an eye in that fight. After that, the murderer ran away, and they were never able to find out who he was. Remembering that, he starts to run in the direction of the trap, thinking that there is only Gojin and Sua's group inside. Feeling anxious about whose blood it might be, Seo soon reaches a location, finding Jiwoo lying on the ground with several people sitting around him. Seeing one of them making him drink something, Seo feels enraged and swiftly takes out his sword, putting it on the person's neck and telling him to stay away from Jiwoo. Meanwhile, in a meeting of the agency, the team leader inquires about the whereabouts of the missing trainee from the Room of Ice. However, he is informed that Cheyenne, the missing person, has not returned. Stating that he has probably died, the team leader remarks that he expected more from Cheyenne since he was the first to clear the Room of Hellfire. Hearing that, Chasia asks if she should go and look for him, but the team leader refuses, stating that they should not intervene when it comes to the demon realm. He emphasizes that everyone signed the agreement in case of death, causing her to lower her head in disappointment. The team leader further states that they should focus on who becomes the next one to clear the area the trainees are currently in, and ends the meeting. As all the agency members start to leave the meeting room, Sumte turns to Chasia and asks how she will continue doing her work if she is so sad about the death of just one person. In response, Chasia reveals that there is something else on her mind, prompting him to ask what it is. She tells him that she was checking the trainee list for other areas after finishing her work and found out that one of the trainees is a serial killer. Meanwhile, in the forest, Seo places the sword on the person's neck, telling him to stay away from Jiwoo, and activates his ability of destiny detection. Telling him to calm down, the person states that they were only trying to heal him, revealing that what he is holding is actually an antidote from the shop. After checking the destiny windows of the person and all his group members, Seo tells them to put their weapons down. Looking at Jiwoo lying unconscious, Seo checks his destiny window and finds out that he is suffering from fever and paralysis due to poison. This makes him realize that the person is telling the truth and that he does need an antidote. However, he is still not ready to trust these people, thinking that they might be harmful. Just then, Suha and Bam come from behind, calling out to him and revealing that these people are not their enemies. Hearing that, Seo inquires about what exactly is going on. In response, the person standing behind Suha states that he will explain it. He reveals that Jewel walked into a trap they set up to hunt monsters and apologizes for that, stating that they were unaware that people from other areas were also present in the place. He further explains that they brought Jewel along for treatment and have removed all the traps they set up in the area. While Seo views his destiny window, he realizes that he actually has the ability to set traps. Looking at him, Seo remembers that the serial killer from his past life was also skilled at poisons and traps. However, considering the powers, he finds the person giving the antidote to Gyul to be more suspicious due to his ability to stealth. However, he finds that person too weak to harm Suo and agrees with their claim, thinking that since he is not sure who the murderer is, he needs to be wary of them all. Turning to them, Seo asks if the treatment has been completed, and they agree, so he states that they will take Jewel back with them. Thinking that even if they are not dangerous, it's not good to stay with people from another area, Seo starts walking away, followed by Suo and Bam. At night, they set up their camp in the forest while Suo lights up the fire, remarking that it gets dark in the forest much earlier. As she sits near the fire, Bam comes to her, remarking that she has never slept in the wilderness before. In response, Yule calls her a coward, prompting her to ask if he is not scared, stating that there are a lot of monsters in this place. While they are talking about that, Seo throws a small ball in their direction, making them confused. Falling on the ground, the ball begins to shine and emits a strange energy, prompting Suo to ask what it is. In response, he reveals that it is an item supposed to chase away the monsters, which he got from the shop. Hearing that, the twins become impressed, remarking that he is so strong and knowledgeable, and ask if they can be his students, which surprises him. Discussing who is going to get this privilege from among them, Bam and Jewel start to argue with each other, while Seo looks at them and smiles, considering it to be an unnecessary ruckus. After a while, he states that he is not going to teach either of them, telling them to calm down and stop the fight. Just then, he begins to hear the voices of his dead comrades, asking why he got involved with them and becomes shocked. Getting up, he starts to walk away, making them confused, and states that it is too loud in that place. Stating that he is going to sleep away from there, he tells them not to wait for him. While they watch him leave in confusion, Seo wonders what he is doing, thinking that he was supposed to distance himself from them to prevent them from getting harmed. Taking out the unknown egg from his inventory bag, he states that he has many other things to do and unties the egg's mouth. After that, he offers a few leaves to the egg to eat, but it rejects them after taking a bite and requests to have meat. After being offered plants again and again, the egg goes on a hunger strike, refusing to eat anything, while Seo keeps giving it different substances to consume. After some time, Seo returns to the place where Suo and the twins are sitting outside their camps and watches them from above a tree. While the divine beings keep discussing what is on his mind and what state he is in, Seo feels annoyed, thinking that he will advance and turn off this communication system from the settings. Taking a deep breath, he rests his back against the tree stem and keeps looking at them while the twins are busy arguing as usual. Hearing their argument, Seo remembers the days he spent with the Flying Tiger sect, thinking that he and Harine used to argue in the same way all the time. He remembers that Suo used to just smile at them back then, just like she is doing at the moment. Remembering how beautiful their ordinary lives used to be back then, Seo smiles, expecting his life in the Flying Tiger sect to be bustling this time as well. Thinking that this sight looks warm and sweet to him, Seo closes his eyes and smiles. However, suddenly he smells a sweet scent in his surroundings and becomes confused about what it is. Just then, a portal opens at a distance from them, and gigantic bears emerge from it, running towards the camps. Watching them, Seo quickly jumps down the tree in front of them, making Suo confused, and starts to swing his sword, breaking the bushes. Looking at him, Suo calls out, asking if he is looking for something. Turning to her, Seo asks if everyone vacated the area while he was away, and she disagrees. Taking a demonic peach from the ground, he asks if anyone came to this place at all. Considering that there are no fruit trees nearby, Seo thinks that someone left the demonic peaches there intentionally, pondering that it was probably the murderer. While he is wondering if it was the person with the stealth ability, Bam tells him that Gojin passed by this area a while ago. Hearing that, Seo asks if it really was Gojun and not a stranger from a different area, and they agree, stating that he passed by an hour ago. Asking if he did something, Bam reveals that Gojun was glaring at them for quite a while. Wondering if Gojun is the murderer, Seo thinks about what could be on his mind to drop so many fruits to attract demons in that area. Hearing that, Suo asks if someone intentionally tried to put them in danger and wonders who that person could be. Stating that he is not sure, Seo says that he is certain of one thing, which is to be wary of humans as they go forward. While he is telling them that he is going to take care of all the demonic fruits, someone observes them from a distance. Sensing their presence, Seo quickly turns around, but the person disappears, making him wonder who it was. Meanwhile, In another part of the forest, Gojin keeps endlessly slaying the demonic creatures while feeling bored by doing so. He finds the plot to be useless, with no rivals, comrades, or enemies, and only low-level demons that he has been hunting up until now. Looking up at the sky, he wonders what his true role is. He remembers the twins talking about how strong Seo is and how he defeated the Yeti alone, which surprised him. He is astonished by the fact that Seo defeated the boss-level demon that he didn't even encounter, being the first to clear the room of ice. Realizing Seo's capability, Gojin wonders why he got defeated by Qian in the room of hellfire despite having this much power. Just then, a thought comes to his mind that pushing Qian in his direction was just a plan by Seo. He thinks that Seo might be someone who has returned from the future and knows all the strategies and rewards. Therefore, Seo wants to get rid of him in order to attain all the necessary rewards. Remembering all of this, Gojin finally realizes the reality and runs to find Seo as soon as he can. Meanwhile, Seo keeps proceeding forward while looking at the map that shows a 35% discovery rate. Observing him, the divine beings ask why he is not hunting, stating that he has only collected 200 spirit pearls till that time. In response, Seo remarks that they still haven't revealed who dropped the demonic fruits, but they reply that they did not notice it either, causing him to remark that he does not believe them. Suddenly, Seo's expression changes, and he starts to look around, causing them to ask what he is searching for. After a few moments, he receives a notification that, after focusing and searching for a long time, his senses have increased to level 25. As a result of his senses getting sharpened, he starts to feel the scent of human blood and activates his ability of destiny stealing to find out if there is someone dead in the surroundings. While looking around, he suddenly comes across a person lying on the ground, badly injured, and becomes shocked. Charging his sword with flame manipulation, he proceeds forward and attacks the murderer standing at a distance, causing his mask to start burning. Just then, he finds out that the number of dead people in the region is 0. Meanwhile, the murderer remarks that if someone collapses, Seo should have checked up on them instead of wielding his sword. Removing his burning mask, the person remarks that Seo is fast to catch up, asking how he found out about him being the murderer. As he removes his mask, he turns out to be Nam Yujun, the person who was giving the antidote to Giwol. Stating that he does not leave any witnesses behind, Yujun swiftly proceeds forward and starts to attack Seo. Looking at his stats, Seo feels surprised, thinking that his stats have doubled since the last time they met. Engaging in a relentless battle against him, Seo asks how many people he has murdered, and Yujun happily replies that he has killed a lot. Looking at his expression, Seo is surprised, remarking that he seems happy about that, and asks if it was not enough to hunt demons. Stating that it was fun hunting demons as well, Yujun says that he tried to stay quiet, but Lord Natural gave him the power to kill people. He states that it would have been a waste if he had not utilized this power, which made him kill a lot of people, making Seo enraged by his revelation. Asking why he is angry, Yujun states that if he had an ability that he could activate only by killing people, he would have done the same. With that, he activates his stealth technique and starts to disappear, while Seo remarks that he makes it sound like everyone would have done the same, which is not the truth. As Yujun becomes invisible, Seo activates his sharpened senses to figure out his movements. The moment Yujun reaches behind him, Seo closes his eyes, thinking that his invisibility won't hinder him as long as he senses Yujun's high blood thirst. As Yujun launches a sudden attack, Seo blocks it with his sword, asking if Yujun thought he wouldn't be able to find him. Surprised that Seo can block an invisible attack, Yujun finds it interesting, stating that it would be fun killing him. While Yujun continually attacks, stating his intent to grow stronger by killing Seo, Seo realizes his current skills won't suffice. He feels a bit anxious since he has never used his ability before, but he believes his Yeti-acquired skill, the fighting instinct, can be useful in this battle. Thinking that he activates his fighting instinct and becomes much stronger and eager to fight, causing Yujun to become confused. With a fierce killing intent in his eyes, Seo looks at Yujun, remarking that he is pretty strong. Looking at him, Yujun wonders why his aura suddenly changed. Meanwhile, Seo, who keeps swinging his sword fiercely, remarks that it must feel good to kill someone stronger than himself and gives a cruel smile, saying that he launches a swift and fatal attack that causes Yujun to crash to the ground with blood spurting out of his body. Asking why he is not dodging the attacks, Seo raises his sword in the air and brings it down to pierce it into Yoojun's body. Just then, Gojun calls out from behind, stating that he has come to help. Hearing his voice, Seo turns around and looks at him, finding him to be even stronger than Yoojun and becoming excited to fight against him. Consumed by a fierce intent to kill, Seo raises his sword and runs in Gojun's direction, causing him to wonder if it is a party member's scouting event. Realizing Seo's intention to kill him, Gojun blocks the attacks, wondering what to do. Stating that Seo has lost his reason to the power, Gojun attacks him, causing him to drop his sword and pushes him backward, stating that he will help him come back to his senses. Swinging his sword, Gojun wonders if this is what he is supposed to do and sees Yoojun escaping, thinking that it must be according to the plot, telling him to return when he is stronger. Turning to Seo, who is lying on the ground, Gojun asks if he's okay and if they can become team members while he gets up and consumes his recovery medicine. After swallowing the medicine, Seo turns to him, telling him to go away and look for someone else. However, Gojun argues that he likes Seo, considering other trainees as boring extras. Taking out Seo's sword from the bushes, he states that the other people do not have any unique traits or stories and want to become a main character with him. With that, he throws his sword towards him, stating that they should make up a team. Meanwhile, Yoojun keeps running away while hiding himself using his stealth technique and thinks that he will have to eliminate the witnesses, but both of them are too strong. Reaching his team members who are searching for him through the forest, he thinks that he only needs to become stronger through murders and smiles. After a while, he comes out, calling out to his comrades, making them feel relieved to see him alive. One of his team members states that they saw a person's dead body in the forest that was killed by someone else. Stating that he also saw a criminal, he suddenly sits down on the ground, making them worried about his well-being. Getting near him, they ask if he is all right, stating that they can heal him with their abilities. In response, he looks up with a smile on his face and takes out his sword, killing all of them in an instant. As their dead bodies lie on the ground, Yoojun activates his impulse for murder and starts to extort the stats of his comrades. As a result of his ruthless acts, the divine being possessing him gets satisfied and gives him a blade necklace. This necklace increases his strength by 10%, surprising him. Thinking that he will definitely be able to kill Seo with such power, he thanks the divine being. However, just then he feels the water energy increasing in the surrounding areas, and it starts to rain, which decreases his stats by 10%. However, the divine being tells him not to get worried, stating that since Seo's attribute is also fire, his abilities will also weaken due to the rain, making him feel relieved. He thinks that he will have to find Seo before it starts raining harder. Meanwhile, in another part of the forest, Seo diligently enhances his strength by chopping down trees with his sword while looking for something. Just as he is left with one tree to cut, Yoojun approaches. As he stands, turning his back to Yoojun and stating that there is only one tree left to cut, Yoojun suddenly launches an attack, which he blocks with his sword. Feeling shocked at how he blocked the attack, Yoojun stares at him while remarking that he is too weak to fight against him. As Seo continues to block Yoojun's attacks, Yoojun reflects that he would have taken fewer lives if he had known about Seo's vulnerability. Asking how he is so weak and where his teammate went, Yoojun remarks that walking around in the forest on his own is like begging to be killed for him. However, in response, Seo remains silent, wearing a perplexing smile that confuses Yoojun. Suddenly, Yoojun senses an overwhelming surge of energy from Seo, leaving him shocked. Following that, Seo's flame attribute switches to the water attribute, giving him an extra power boost because of the rain, which brings his decreased stats back to normal. With the water energy continuously increasing in the surrounding area, Seo's stats keep on rising while those of Yoojun keep on decreasing due to the overlap. Thinking that he was expecting Seo to get weaker, Yoojun calls out to the divine being, blaming them for giving the wrong information about Seo's attribute. Upon hearing this, Seo asks if Nachal informed Yoojun about his attributes. This causes Yoojun to tremble in fear, while Nachal advises him not to fall for Seo's lies. The divine being assures him that he is definitely stronger than Seo, even with the ability restriction, offering him a glimmer of hope and strength to step back. Stating that he is not aware of how Seo managed to change his attribute, Yoojun strikes Seo's sword with such force that it breaks into pieces, leaving Seo shocked. Saying that he is still much stronger as compared to Seo, Yoojun pushes him backwards with such force that he crashes into the only tree left behind him. Advancing rapidly, Yoojun positions his sword against Seo's face, stating that it was fun while it lasted and revealing that he intends to kill all his team members as well. With that, he is about to strike the sword onto Seo's neck, but before he can do that, Seo takes a tree branch and pierces it into his body. With blood spurting out of his body, Yoojun crashes to the ground, asking how it is possible to launch such an attack with just a branch of a tree. In response, Seo reveals that it was not just a branch but a weapon, causing Yoojun to realize the gravity of his predicament. Considering that he cannot fight against Seo in such a state, Yoojun implores Natural for help, but Seo remarks that it's too late. At that moment, he realizes that the divine being has severed its connection with him, leaving him to face death alone. At that very moment, Seo thrusts the weapon into Yoojun's heart, ending his life. Bringing his hand forward, Seo reveals that he also has a power that can only be used after killing and activates his ability of destiny stealing. The next day, while Seo keeps hunting the monsters within the forest, he thinks that the prophets from the demon realm are more than what he expected. He remembers finding the lightning-struck seven-branched sword of a tertiary draconic grade. He remembers that he looked for it all over the area, cut down all the trees just to find it, and even set up a lightning rod in the tree. Along with that, he also received the stealth technique from Yoojun and got a level up in his destiny class. However, despite all that, he cannot get rid of the fear of losing all his comrades because of his bad luck and getting blamed for their deaths. While he is thinking about that, someone calls out to him, and he turns around, finding Gojun, who asks why he is killing these weak monsters instead of Yoojun. In response, Seo asks what he is doing there instead of guarding the gates of the fourth region. He remembers that when Gojun suggested making up a team, he angrily put his sword on his neck, remarking that he just lost a murderer because of him. In response, Gojun offered to bring Yoojun back for Seo, asking what he was supposed to do to make him trust him. Hearing that, Seo thought that he expected him to be like that since Cheon died and decided to use him as insurance. With this decision made, Seo removed his sword from Gojun's neck, instructing him to follow his orders, and Gojun agreed, asking what he should do next. After that, Seo told him to take out his map, and he followed, showing his map to him. Pointing to an exit located in a specific region, Seo instructed him to go and stand there so that Yoojun could not escape. Remembering that duty, Gojun states that he waited there for days but did not hear anything from them, so he came to check if Seo had already completed his task. Seo responds that he also hasn't been able to locate Yoojun, but he's focusing on his mission and collecting spirit pearls, assuming that Yoojun has fled. However, Gojun refuses to believe him, suspecting that Seo has killed Yoojun and taken his belongings. In response, Seo explains that the blade necklace he wears was given to him by a divine being, and he bought the sword from a shop, urging Gojun not to fantasize. Facing Seo, Gojun attempts to explain that if Seo has indeed killed Yoojun, he can confide in him as they are on the same side. After a brief pause, Seo starts walking away, insisting he hasn't killed Yoojun and telling Gojun to stop pretending they are friends. In response, Gojun gets up in order to collect spirit pearls for him, reveals that Suo was the first one to complete the raid this time, and moves away. At that moment, the count of 1,000 pearls is complete for Seo, allowing him to successfully clear the Room of Swords, a feat he considers perfect. After clearing the stage as he goes back to the training facility, the twin siblings start to request that he take them as his students, again addressing him as master. However, he refuses to teach them, prompting them to ask why he is doing that despite the fact that they have been blessed by the divine beings, which makes him feel surprised. Looking at them, he activates his ability of destiny detection, while Jewel reveals that he was blessed by the Girl of the Moon and Hunt. In the meantime, Ban reveals that she was blessed by Bowstring imbued with sunlight, making Seo realize that they are talking about Apollo and Artemis. He responds to them by smiling and stating that those divine beings are perfect for their attributes, prompting them to ask if he is going to take them as his students in that case. In response, Seo tells them to ask it from their divine beings instead of making them surprised as they ask which divine being he has been blessed by. Seo reveals that he has not been blessed by any of them, prompting them to ask why, and he reveals that none of them offered it to him. Hearing that, one of them asks if he has not even been blessed by Zeus, the father of divine beings and humanity. She goes on to reveal that among the people who are blessed by the divine beings of the same faction, there is a synergy effect. As she is about to state further, Jewel puts his hand on her mouth and quickly changes the topic, asking if he is not interested in divine blessings like Suo. In response, he agrees, stating that he does not intend to receive them at the moment and does not want to become a mentor either. Hearing that, one of them feels shocked and thinking if there is a reason why Seo does not want a blessing, while Seo goes on to state that he has already told them about his decision. Suddenly they hear a voice and look aside, finding a person thrown out of the gate of the first room, making them shocked. Taking him near the totem pole, Seo asks if he is alright, and he agrees, making them understand that he is still having a hard time defeating the monsters. Taking a deep breath, he states that he still feels scared whenever he faces those monsters. While he feels disappointed at his weakness despite being awakened, Seo smiles, considering it to be the perfect timing. Calling out to him, Seo asks if he wants his help in the raid, making the person surprised. Hearing about that, the twin siblings also express their desire to accompany them, but Seo tells them to go and hunt, stating that he will decide whether to take them or not if they listen to him. Hearing that, they happily run away while the person asks if it will not be too much of a burden for him. In response, Seo smiles, thinking that it is not a burden for him at all and that he is only planning to copy what Gojin did in his past life. Thinking that, he turns to Johan, the person, and states that people should help each other, making him impressed by his thoughts. With a smile on his face, Seo asks if they should leave right away. Meanwhile, in the agency, the members of the team sit where their leaders are remarking on their good mood, asking if it is because the first one to complete the raid came from their region. In response, he agrees, stating that this is a big relief. Just then, his team members informed him about the arrival of the other team leader, making him annoyed. At the door stands Seo Moon, the same woman who killed the Flying Tiger sect members, who comes to congratulate them on the news about their team members' success in the raid. Stating that reasons 1 and 2 will be meeting the next time, she suggests making a bet about who will be the first one to clear the next level between his trainees and those of her. Agreeing, Gong, the second team leader, asks what they are betting for, and Seo Moon suggests the loser grant a wish to the winner, making him surprised. Looking at his expressions, she asks if he is scared, and he disagrees, stating that it is obvious for his trainees to win, and decides to make the bet. Stating that she is looking forward to it, Seo Moon leaves. After she departs, Gong remains silent for some time and then turns to his team members, stating that they should win this time and will have to take special precautions for that. Meanwhile, Seo assists Johan in clearing the room of the sword forest by helping him collect 1,000 spirit pearls. As he gets the notification of his successful completion of the raid, he expresses his astonishment at Seo completing it in just 2 days, remarking that he has worked really hard. In response, Seo states that it was not his effort alone since Johan has also worked a lot with his healing skills. Stating that it was nothing, Johan lowers his head while Seo assures him that it was enough, stating that other people have not recognized his true value yet. While this statement makes Johan overwhelmed, Seo smiles, asking if they should head to the 5th room. While walking towards the 5th room, Seo asks if Johan got Chash's message, and he agrees. Seo informs him about the increased level of difficulty in the 5th room, telling him to prepare accordingly. Seo says that the first team went in 5 days ago, and they will enter the next morning, to which Johan agrees, deciding to meet him in front of the totem poles. The next day, as they enter the 5th room, they find it to be a beautiful beach beside a river, which mesmerizes Johan with its scenic view. As he remarks that this place does not look like a demon realm at all, a window suddenly appears in front of him, informing him that he has entered the room of spoken sins. Following that, the conditions to clearing the room are explained to them, among which the third one reminds Seo of the difficulties he faced in his past life. Reading that, they start to move forward while Johan remarks that the room of spoken sins might mean there are a lot of secrets in that place. However, Seo reveals that it is not the kind of spoken, since he is thinking instead it means that their tongue will be ripped out. Inside the 5th room, Seo starts setting up a camp and prepares to light a fire, astonishing Johan with his arrangements. Johan remarks that he was worried when he saw the additional requirements, but they will not have to back out if they have all this. Throwing a ball into the fire to keep the monsters away, Seo gets up, stating that he is going to take a walk in the surroundings, instructing Johan to stay there. After that, he starts walking away, thinking that he must make an arrangement for the food after preparing the shelter. Meanwhile, near a bunch of trees loaded with fruits, some people sit, remarking that it looks very artificial, just like an orchard. Looking at the monsters walking underneath the trees, they realize that this place is guarded by dangerous monsters. Wondering what to do in such a situation, one of them states that they are going to starve at the suggestion that they go to Sua's camp to ask for food. In response, the other one, who turns out to be the person rejected by Sua, angrily forbids them to take Sua's name, stating that they will prefer starving over asking her for help. Remembering how she rejected him due to their lack of compatibility, he thinks that he cannot ask her for help no matter what. Considering that only thinking about her makes him mad, he tells his team members to simply fight the monsters and get the fruits, stating that they have enough energy to do that. Hearing that, his team members ask why he always tells them to go and fight while staying back himself, and he states that this is what he has hired them for. Having no choice but to follow, the team members get out of the bushes and start to attack the monsters, remarking that they are much weaker than they look. After some time, they successfully killed all the monsters, thinking that they could now access the fruits easily, stating that they should get as much fruit as they can before more monsters come. Their group leader makes one of them climb the tree to pick the fruits. While the group members are picking the fruits, the group leader turns to one of the dead monsters, wondering why it is so thin despite so many fruits in its surroundings. Just then, he hears a voice revealing that this is because if the fruits are eaten without permission, their tongues will be taken out by the owner. While he is still trying to understand what they meant, a horde of monsters rushes toward them from behind, causing the voice to urge them to run before they lose their tongue. Meanwhile, the monsters, resembling fearsome gorillas, charge at them with fierce intent in their eyes. Looking at them, Sangwon, the group leader, urges all his group members to run, and they start to run away, followed by the army of gorillas. Looking at his group members leaving him behind, he starts calling out to them, stating that they were supposed to protect him. However, before he can catch up to them, the gorillas catch him and open his mouth to pull away his tongue. Yet, before they can do it, a sword comes flying in the air and hits the gorilla holding Sangwon, startling him. With tears in his eyes, he looks ahead, finding Seo, who tells him to be careful from that moment on. Remembering Seo to be the same fortune teller because of whom he was rejected by Sua, Sangwon wipes his tears, stating that he did not ask him for help. Sangwon states that he is not going to forgive Seo for what he did to him in the past just because he saved his life. Telling him not to worry, Seo states that he is not going to help him even if he begs for it, making Sangwon shocked. Turning around to kill the leftover gorillas, Seo tells him to go away while his group members also arrive, asking if he is alright. While Seo indulges in the gorilla hunt, Sangwon's group members help him get up, apologizing to him and stating that they did not realize he fell behind. Nevertheless, Sangwon becomes overwhelmed with anger, stating that he is never going to forgive Seo for what he did. Meanwhile, Seo keeps fighting against the gorillas and killing them tirelessly. After successfully eliminating them all, Seo looks around to see if someone is watching him and then takes out the unknown egg in order to feed it. Looking at the countless dead gorillas lying on the ground, the egg becomes excited for the food, but Seo brings a fruit near it, stating that this is what it is supposed to eat. In the meantime, he takes the gorillas for himself and Johan to eat and cooks them on fire. Turning to Johan, Seo reminds him that he asked him for his help earlier, prompting Johan to ask what type of help he wants. In response, Seo bites the piece of flesh, leaving Johan shocked. Wiping the blood from his face, Seo reveals that all the monsters in this demon realm have poison and turns to Johan, asking him to heal him. In response, Johan offers him a mana recovery tea, telling him to drink it, and he takes it. Having lost control of his senses, Seo starts to say pointless things while Johan begins to heal him. However, despite his efforts, Seo continues to eat the piece of flesh, causing him to use his healing ability non-stop. After some time, Seo states that it is fine for that time, revealing that the poison is getting so weak that he has slowly gotten used to it. Saying that, Seo picks up a raw piece of flesh, stating that he will now eat it in order to enhance his ability, leaving Johan shocked. After some time, by consuming the raw meat endlessly and getting healed simultaneously, Seo finally obtains the ability to develop poison tolerance. While he is happily looking at his status window, Johan asks if he is done, and he agrees. Yet, as he turns around to appreciate Johan for his effort, he finds him lying on the ground out of exhaustion. Deciding not to disturb him further, Seo takes him inside the cam, allowing him to have a sound sleep. While he himself turns to his status window, he remarks that attaining the skill took longer than expected and that it is still on a low grade. He remembers that he fed Johan all the food beneficial for mana ahead of time, due to which he has been able to tolerate it all. While thinking about it, he suddenly goes to Johan and starts to wake him up, thinking that he initially wanted him to rest because he worked so hard. However, considering that the others will not let them rest peacefully, he opens the zip of his tent and attacks the person approaching, causing them to scream in agony. Hearing the voice, Johan wakes up, asking what is happening. Looking out of the tent, Seo thinks that he knew about their arrival and informs Johan that they have been ambushed, while a large group of people start to rush towards their tent. Telling Johan that they have been ambushed, Seo states that he is going to go out and fight, instructing Johan not to come out of the tent and shout if there is a problem, and he agrees. Afterwards, he goes out of the tent and looks at the group of people who are unrecognizable to him, making him wonder if they are from the first region. Calling out to him, the group of people states that they will let them go if they only hand over their food to them, stating that they are not murderers but thieves. In response, Seo states that taking their food away is also equivalent to killing them, while thinking that he remembers their conflict with the first region as being very bad in his past life. Holding his sword tightly, Seo asks what they can do if he does not want to give him food. In response, they state that they will have to use force in that case and charge at him with their swords. As they get near trying to attack Seo, he shows a swift response, effortlessly dodging their attacks and launching counterattacks. While doing that, Seo thinks that with their level of skill and ability, these people can easily get food by themselves in this place. Considering that, he wonders if the purpose of these people is only to cause conflict. Meanwhile, the people realize how strong he is and turn around, deciding to inform their captain about him. While Seo is wondering who their captain is, they throw an explosive item towards him, which, by reacting to his flame manipulation ability, causes a massive blast. Meanwhile, Johan, who is sitting inside the camp praying for Seo's well-being, hears the sound of a blast and quickly gets up to go outside and check if Seo is all right. However, just then he remembers Seo's instruction to not come out no matter what and thinks about what to do. He thinks that Seo forbade him from leaving the camp just because he was a hindrance and wonders if it is fine to keep hiding like that. Just then, Seo enters the camp, stating that the opponents used a smoke bomb to run away, prompting Johan to ask if he is all right, and he agrees. He tells Johan that they came to take away their food. Thinking that the conflict between the different regions was very bad in his past life, he instructs Johan to be wary of people who are strange to them. In response, Johan lowers his head, stating that it would have been better if he had not come along. Hearing that, Seo asks what he means, and he states that he is holding Seo back and thinks that there is no point in completing the training with the help of others. He reminds Seo of Anavi's words that those who lack the will to fight do not need abilities, making Seo confused about what he wants to say. Putting his hands on Johan's shoulders, Seo reminds him of what he said on the 4th floor, stating that the other people have not recognized his value yet. He tries to explain that during the training, the people can simply use totem poles or healing medicines to cure themselves, but that will not be the case after the training ends. Seo states that the real quest will begin after the training, and when people come to realize how expensive healing medicines are, they will eventually recognize his worth. Getting up, Seo states that his job is to fight while Johan's job is to heal and assures him that he is going to save a lot of people in the future, asking if he still wants to give up. After staying silent for a while, Johan states that he does not want to give up and needs Seo's help, which he agrees to provide. 3 days later, in Sua's camp, Jewel and Bomb enter, informing Sua of their return. Seeing them, Sua smiles, asking if they have found what they were supposed to find. In response, they reveal that they have not been able to find it and will have to go in deeper, stating that the people accompanying them are all so weak. Hearing that, Sua tells them not to say something like that, stating that everyone is trying to help, causing them to become annoyed. Remembering Seo, both of them share the thought that if they go around with him, they feel more comfortable and learn a lot. In response, Sua states that they need to do their best on their own until Seo is done inspecting the earlier rooms. Hearing that, the siblings ask when he will be back, and she states that she is not sure about it. Just then, someone enters the camp, and they turn around to find Gojun, who asks if they have seen Seo. Angered by being asked the same question again and again, Sua gives a rude expression, saying that she has not. Seeing him, the twins ask how he got in here with all the traps around the area, and he replies that he has removed all of them, telling them to do a better job next time. Sua also turns to him, asking what he has come there for, remarking that he is always alone, and he replies that he has come to find Seo. Gojun states that he thought Seo was here since the divine beings were talking about him being here, but Sua repeats that they have not seen him. Hearing that, Gojun remarks that he will definitely come if they get rid of extras, prompting the twin siblings to ask if he is referring to. Stating that this is not what he means, Gojun remarks that there are too many useless people around there. Shocked by his point of view, Sua asks if that is how he views humans. In response, he throws a fruit in her direction, causing her to get a notification that she has obtained the passion fruit. Looking at the fruit, Sua remarks that she already has a lot of them. Asking if they already knew about the fruit, Gojun expresses his desire to become their team member. Effortlessly dodging the arrow struck by Jewel, he states that he is unable to find Seo and will not mind working with the supporting roles like them. Meanwhile, Jewel, who is enraged at his remark, states that he has no intention of becoming a team member of a person like Gojun. Hearing that, Gojun starts to emanate a strong energy, stating that he will have to convince them by using force in that case. In response, Sua crushes the fruit held in her hand, stating that he should stop before she starts to force it as well. Wiping the pulp from his face, Gojun takes out his swords, stating that it would be more interesting to fight her than Yuol, who is just a child. Wielding dual forces with both his swords, Gojun stands facing them, stating that it would be more interesting to fight Sua than the children. Just then, Ban intervenes, urging them to calm down and revealing that someone is cooking a monster nearby. Hearing that, all of them turn around with surprise, while Gojun starts to smile, thinking that he has come to the right place and asking where that person is. Meanwhile, Seo, who is busy preparing stew in a large pot, thinks that it has been 10 days since the first team came in and that they should have run out of food they'd brought until now. Looking at his surroundings, he states that the only things to eat inside the room are fruits in the orchards and poisonous monsters and plants. Thinking that they would have realized the value of edible foods by now, Seo starts to laugh. Just then, Gojun and Sua call out to him from behind, and he turns around, becoming glad to see them. Reaching near him, Sua tells him not to eat that, stating that most of the things in the demon realm are poisonous. However, he tells her not to worry, stating that he has removed the poison by putting in an antidote, and he pours the stew into small bowls. With that, he offers her the bowl of soup while she shares her astonishment at him removing the poison. Just then, Gojun intervenes and snatches away the bowl of soup, thanking Seo for the meal. Opening a window in front of him, Seo demands to have 1,000 spirit per serving, causing him to remark that it is very expensive, but he still pays it. Turning to Sua, Seo asks her to pay 200 pearls only, making Gojun unsatisfied at the difference in prices, but Seo states that it is up to him. After a short while, a lot of people gather in the place in order to buy the soup and sit around enjoying it. Meanwhile, Seo, who is busy talking with Sua, asks if they are looking for items better than intermediate. In response, Sua agrees, asking him to help them find those. Hearing that, he turns to Gojun, asking for the reason for his arrival, and he replies that he has been facing a lot of difficulties due to the first region and wants Seo to assist him. Gojun remarks that they will be able to complete things faster if it is not for the extra people, but Sua disagrees, stating that they need to work together in a situation like this. While they are busy arguing with each other, Seo stops them, stating that they should simply collaborate with one another. Hearing that, both of them start to insist that they want to work with Seo. Inside the camp, Seo repeats his decision to not work with both of them no matter what, while Sua keeps on convincing him, stating that it's difficult to defeat the people of the first region. She states that they have to fight them every single time they come across them. Hearing that, Seo becomes surprised, thinking that he needs to look into the situation in the first region. Considering that he cannot take Johan with him, Seo tells him to stay in the camp, stating that he cannot concentrate when Johan is present with him. Turning to Sua, he asks if he can leave Johan with them, and she agrees. Turning back to Johan, Seo tells him that it would be much safer for him to stay there, stating that he will get more opportunities to use his abilities in the camps. In response, Johan shares his concern for Seo's well-being, but Seo assures him that he will be fine on his own and leaves the camp. Sometime later, as he walks deep inside the orchard, killing all the monsters coming his way, the divine beings remark that he has become much stronger. After going much deeper inside, Seo thinks that since the green fruits have started to show up, the creatures that he is anticipating must show up as well. Thinking that he sharpens his senses and starts to feel an overwhelming amount of energy that shocks him. Suddenly, a strong wind starts to blow, making him realize that it has come that close without him noticing. He wonders where it came from and looks behind him at the gigantic gorilla standing behind him. However, as the monster is about to attack, he uses his skill of stealth and becomes invisible, making it confused. Breaking the tree Seo was standing under, the gorilla tries to find him but only finds a fallen fruit on the ground, while Seo climbs up the tree held in the gorilla's hand and sets it ablaze, causing the gorilla to get bewildered. Jumping down the tree, he launches a swift strike on the monster's back, causing blood to spurt out of its body. Realizing that the monster has died due to the fatal wound inflicted by the sword, Seo wonders if it is the benefit of having a good item. Jumping down the monster's body, he thinks that he cannot use such a dangerous weapon against the people of the first region and wonders what to do in that case. Picking up a blue-colored fruit from the area, he gets a notification that he has obtained the heavenly aroma fruit and has completed the room of spoken sins. Thinking that he still needs to raise his poison tolerance, he starts to consume the fruit while wondering if the first region has been able to clear up to this level. While the divine beings feel confused about his actions, he consumes one of the fruits, leading to an increase in his mana and poison tolerance. As they discuss the benefits of the heavenly aroma fruit amongst themselves, Seo keeps consuming them endlessly, causing them to wonder how much he is going to eat. Just then, a window appears in front of Seo, informing them that his ability to tolerate poison has leveled up to primary insectile grade. Feeling relieved to have finally achieved what he wanted, he throws the remaining fruit away, which accidentally hits one of the members of the first region. Turning to Seo, they quickly recognize him, causing him to question how they know about him. Remarking that it is not important, one of them states that their leader wants to have a talk with him, asking him to accompany them, while the person who got hit by the fruit becomes enraged. Wondering if their team leader is the one who ambushed him on the first day, Seo jumps down the tree, agreeing to accompany them. After some time, they reach the camps in the first region. Walking through the area towards the camp of their captain, Seo notices the number of people, which seems large compared to the people of the second region. He notes that although all the people present in the area are looking at him, they do not seem wary of him. Just then, he reaches the camp of the captain, and the people accompanying him tell him to go inside. As he enters the camp, the person sitting inside asks if he is Seo, and he agrees, asking who the person is. In response, the person introduces himself as Hong Dae-hoon from the first region. Smiling, Hong states that it is nice to meet him, while Seo activates his destiny detection ability, realizing that he is of a primary ghostly grade. Looking at his weapon, Seo thinks of it as incredible, learning that it is a heavenly fire blade of a tertiary draconic grade. Looking at the person, Seo thinks that their achievements in his past life make sense and asks what they want. In response, Hong swiftly swings his weapon and brings it near Seo's head, while he does not move a single inch and stands still without a single trace of fear on his face. Looking at his expressions, Hong becomes surprised for a while and then takes his weapon away, stating that they want him to cooperate with them. Hearing their demand to cooperate with them, Seo wipes the blood from his face, asking if this is all they want. Stating that he is planning to become the first one to clear this floor, Seo turns around to leave, saying that he cannot help them in any way. However, as he attempts to get out of the tent, the people standing outside take out their weapons, halting his progress. Stating that he seems to be mistaken, the people of the first region gather around the tent, remarking that he has no choice as long as he is in their region. Putting his weapon on Seo's shoulder, Hong states that if he does not want to cooperate with them, he will have to die. In response, Seo smiles and takes out the token of revenge from his pocket, stating that things will get annoying for them if they try to kill him. Looking at the token, Hong becomes surprised, realizing that the team leader of the second team will come to kill him if he tries to harm Seo. Hong thinks that it is the same powerful position as the person who promised him a reward in case he cleared first and sent him the heavenly fire blade with a message. Thinking that, he turns to Seo, asking if he has gotten a message as well, making him confused. Seo remembers receiving the token of revenge along with a message from his team leader, telling him to be the first one to clear the 5th stage in order to get a precious reward. Considering that, he wonders if Hong has received the weapon from the team leader of the first region, making him realize that the team leaders are also in competition with each other. Meanwhile, Hong stops his team members from killing Seo, informing them that he has a strange item that would lead his killer to get killed themselves. While Hong tells them to back off, Seo turns to him, asking if he can leave. However, to his surprise, Hong starts instructing his team to beat Seo up to the brink of death instead of killing him. Following the order, all of them start to rush towards Seo while he smiles, stating that he would not have come if he was going to be caught so easily. Saying that, he gets up from his place and starts to run in their direction, beating them up instead. During the fight, he utilizes his stealth technique, becoming invisible all of a sudden. Bewildered, they start to look around, wondering where he went, while one of them instructs them to form a circle so that he cannot escape. However, before they can do it, Seo reaches behind them and starts to attack them one by one at a great speed, causing them to scatter around. Watching them, Hong becomes annoyed, telling them to stay together instead of spreading apart. Stating that he has not disappeared but only become invisible, Hong instructs them to avoid giving him any space, while Seo smiles, thinking that it is too late. With that, he starts throwing demonic fruits on the ground, making the team members confused about what is happening. Standing behind one of the camps, Seo thinks that he was curious about why the first region and the second region were on such bad terms with each other in his past life. However, after coming here, he realized that it was all because of the Fate Protection Agency. Thinking that, he sets all the camps ablaze and starts walking away, while demons attracted by the scent of fruits also attack Hong and his people. Thinking about the destruction that spread in the past, Seo feels frustrated, realizing that all of it was just for a reward. Considering that he cannot let his past repeat itself just because of a reward, Seo wonders what to do. Coming back to his own camping area, he takes out the demonic fruits he collected from the deep orchard and calls out to his group members. He informs them all about the intention of the people of the first region to ambush them, leaving them all shocked. Stating that he has a suggestion for them all, Seo shows them the heavenly aroma fruit, stating that they can use it to clear the room with intermediate difficulty. Stating that it is for free, Seo urges them all to get out of this place before the people of the first region arrive. Stating that he has a lot of fruits, Seo instructs them to inform the people who are not currently present there, causing all of them to express their gratitude for his help. Just then, Seo comes to him, asking if he is also going to clear it with an intermediate level of difficulty. In response, Seo states that this is none of her business, while thinking that Seo is not the type of person who would put her teammate in danger because of someone else. Stating that he is not a member of their group, Seo tells her to take everyone else and leave the place, and she walks away. Hearing that, Seo stands still, watching him lead without saying a word. After some time, Seo arrives back deep inside the orchard while hiding himself using the stealth technique. Walking inside the orchard, he remembers that the last time he faced the monster, it appeared out of nowhere without him realizing it. However, he considers it strange, thinking that the monsters usually do not appear out of nowhere, especially in the demon realm. Thinking that the creatures of the demon realm are bound to have dwellings like the Yeti nests, Seo wonders where the monster came from. After walking a little distance, he finds the secret passageway between two trees. As he tries to get inside the narrow passageway, he wonders how the gigantic monster managed to enter it. However, as soon as he gets inside, he realizes that it is a lot bigger inside than he expected. Utilizing his flame manipulation technique, he lights up his way and starts to walk ahead, suddenly coming across a strange scene that leaves him shocked. In front of him is a beautiful garden with blooming trees, loaded with fruits that even leave the divine beings amazed. Considering that there might be monsters inside, the divine being tells Seo to be careful, but he replies that the monsters only use it as a passageway and will not fight there. Looking around, Seo smiles, thinking that this place is the most dangerous in the entire demon realm. Coming across another deep dwelling, he wonders if the monsters are deep inside. However, instead of entering the dwelling, he starts to climb up the trees, picking the fruit of all scents, which leads him to fulfill the conditions of clearing the high difficulty level. Thinking that he only needs to get out of the place without being found, Seo jumps down the tree when a blast suddenly erupts at a distance, making him confused. As the clouds of smoke clear, the members of the first region enter the place, headed by Hong, who states that they have been able to find this place because of Seo. Surprised to see them, Seo asks if they have been following him, and they agree, stating that they spotted him on their way to the second region. Suddenly, Seo notices Jewel with them in a state of unconsciousness and becomes shocked, dropping all sense. We really hope that you enjoyed this manhwa. Make sure to like and subscribe for more.